Yes, 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 yeah. Nah, I ain't doing that no more. What up, people? What's good? What's good? What's good? I told you today was gonna be something special, but before I even get into anything, man, we gotta shout out to my man DMX. R.I.P. to my brother, man.
RP to the girl.
The legend is gone. We know
Are
what
you sure
problems
we
he
live?
had, but he is greatly missed. Oh man, already. I want everybody to try to get a little toast up for my brother, man. And yeah, we're gonna hop into these topics. We're gonna hop into this podcast. And I have two special guests that started a podcast that look like they've been veterans for 10 joints. We talking about two good men, two good brothers, great opinions, well-rounded category in opinions, and one of them got a name that rose me from the graves, and it's amazing that he has that name. I'm gonna go with my man Pong Soul first, because I was raised on that game. That is the game that changed my life. The dot and the rectangles. But yeah,
You know
Pong,
it.
what's good with you? What's good with you, baby?
Man, I am just excited to be here with my brother from another steel, living split screen on the Dragon's Den. Are you kidding me right now, man?
It's crazy.
This is one of those bucket list deals, right? I've been
Facts.
following you for quite a while now,
Facts.
Lemon, and oh man, it's good to be here, and I am hyped. We did our show this morning, and it feels like we just carrying right through. So
Facts.
I'm ready to get down to it, man, for sure.
Podcast marathon. It always
That's
continues.
right.
Now,
Just keeps going.
we're going to jump into our other special guest. This is my brother from GRG. You talking about a guy that walks around and just goes live from his phone, dropping knowledge, dropping energy, dropping topics.
Got you.
Man, he is a walking podcaster himself. It's my
you.
man, Still Rain. What's good, my brother? What's good with you?
I am him, the one and only Steel Rain. Look, man, we in the Dragon's Den tonight with the brother PK, Sick, and Pong Soul. Look, man, y'all was living split screen this morning, but right now you chilling with the Rain, with the Soul, and we coming at you with the entertainment of the night. Let's get to these topics, man. The Dragon said he got something fire to spit for you. I hope you're ready. I hope you buckled up. I think some heavyweights might change. The future's looking bright. It's the golden age of gaming, baby. Let's get it.
Now we're gonna hop into the most
That's my hype man right there.
facts. we're gonna get into the
Natural,
most
man.
electrifying YouTuber content creator on the planet, my little
go.
big brother, P Kizzle, as
Let's
I
go.
call him. What's up, PK? What's good with you, baby?
Hey, what's happening? What's happening? I'm glad to be here with the brothers from the split screen. Congratulations, you guys are doing your thing. Much love, fire as always, and electrify your world. Keep it going. Let's get these topics. We got some real things to discuss.
Then we're gonna get into the last co-host, man. This is my brother from another mother, man, over 30 years. If your TV got hacked or you see that glitch and you see that glasses in the background, that man is all in your matrix right now. That's my
You
boy,
probably
the
deserve
technician from the grave, baby. My man, Six Slayer.
What up, everybody? I mean, God, man, it's been a long time coming. Living Split Screen is here. Still Rain, Pong,
Yes.
Soul, the homies, the rookie sensation for 2021. Last year, myself and PK was on multiple podcasts doing our thing left and right. And we still are, but now we see you two guys doing the same thing. And
Love.
I'm incredibly impressed by you guys. You guys
Thanks.
are highly intelligent, knowledgeable, and you got that energy, that joie de vivre, and I love it. So we about to get in it. Let's go.
Pause. I was like,
I was gonna say into it. Yeah, I messed that one up.
before we get into any topics, man, first of all, we're gonna get a little back history on both of these guys.
What's good?
I ask these questions, man, all the time to the guests. What is the game that made you say, I'm gonna be a gamer for life?
The game that made me say that I was going to be a gamer for life. Diablo 2.
Okay, that's a good one. That's a tough one.
Diablo 2, because I was not supposed to be playing it at the time. My father didn't approve of me playing violent games. But he was out on the road. He was a trucker at the time. So the times where he was gone, I was playing Diablo. You know what I mean? But it was one of those games that really where you really got that. I guess you could call it like a roguelike experience, but also I experienced like high difficulty in the game for real, because up to that point it was like a lot of Sonic and Pokemon and coming off the trading card games and a lot of that at the time. And then it went into me being a heavy PC gamer, playing multiplayer games, Rainbow Six from back in the day, from the late 90s, early 2000s. Being into that and then rolling into Diablo 2, but also ended up being a multiplayer experience and playing with other people and just grinding through the content. Just at the time, man, it was just a different kind of experience. Right. And I knew from that point that it was a wrap, because every game that I've been heavy about since that point, like whether it's Halo, whether it's Gears, or whether it's Forza, and it's funny that those are the titles, but those are the games that have been very multiplayer centric for me, and I just continue to carry that mantle. So that's what I would have to give it.
Okay. Well,
and it might be different tomorrow if you ask me tomorrow. Like it's one of those things where it's like there's so many different games that have spoken to me, because you could ask me 2 weeks from now and be like, oh, it's Halo. You could ask me, a year from now and I'd be like, oh, it was Sonic. You know what I mean? It's just there's just different characters in different times in my experience where it was just like I continue to where I felt like it couldn't get any better. Game would continue to evolve. And I was welcomed into new experiences, and that's kind of what's unique today. We're kind of going through the same thing again, and that's why that energy has to continue to carry over. And again, that's why I'm here with it.
Well, you had to sneak. You were sneaking and playing games. I was sneaking and watching porn. But everybody's life is different, man. You know what I'm saying? Because my father bought me the games, but I was definitely trying to pop them VHS tapes and they're like, yo, boop doo doo. We gonna watch this till Dad get home. But Pong, being you're one of my favorite guys in the community, man. You supported me for as long as I can remember. We always pop up in the same good podcast chats. We always talking back and forth, man. This was definitely inevitable. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate both of y'all. Your energy is incredible, and the living split screen. It just, I'm a setup guy. I love great setups. I like to see people when they put the work in and it displays. So with that being said, tell me, what was the game that changed your life? To say I'm gonna be a gamer forever.
Ooh, well, I could take the easy way out and go Pong, since that's some of my earliest memories, right? That could be the easy one, and I've been in video games ever since that point, so that'd be the easy route. But I guess for me, I'd have to go and this is going to surprise some people because I'm a console player through and through. I don't mess with the PC at all, right? But there was a time when I actually did mess with the PC for a bit. And so I'm going to have to go with Ultima 5 and Might and Magic 2. I got to go. Yeah, I got to go back. I got to go back to those because at that point, I was big. I've always been a reader, so I was big into fantasy. Like
Megatron in the building 108 Dragons TV welcomes you, brother.
And the minute I started playing games of that level, that were RPGs.
Megatron in the building 108 Dragons TV welcomes you, brother.
I was like, man, I'm never going back again. I'm never going to stop doing this. And I remember that was 8th grade, 7th, 8th grade, and then into high school. I was sucked in for good, and that was it. So that for me is a turning point where I probably sat back, and I could still it's crazy. But back in the day, we didn't have like streaming music, so you always had your boombox set up next to you, and you'd be rocking tunes while you're playing vids. And I still, to this day, have music that pops on, and it bring me right back, like instantaneously. Like I still have flashbacks to Might and Magic and to Ultima 5. It's crazy, but that's what happens.
Entry. That's a great entry, man. You can't even dispute those. I mean, my game was Pong, and then once I touched that game was so simplistic, but it had all of us in our living rooms for hours. So I'm gonna take
captivated.
Right.
Captivated.
A square and a rectangle kept us going. Right. So it just was like after that, I was like, you know what? I don't even know. That drought when we had that video game crash, we was hurt. Yeah. We was hurt.
Oh yeah.
And it's good that it made a huge comeback and
Big time.
end up being the biggest entertainment entity on the planet. That's what I'm talking about. Now we're gonna hop into these topics, man. We are gonna hop into these topics. We're gonna start with our guest. We're gonna go right back to Pong, and we're gonna talk about E3 coming back June 12th to the 15th. And what's crazy, Nintendo showing support. Later on, you're gonna hear more support coming from my man PK. He's gonna drop some more names, but Nintendo. I'm talking about just the big dogs right now. Nintendo and Microsoft, full steam ahead, full supporting the brand. Which hopefully it comes back. And I hope to see y'all guys at E3 next year. Please, hope to God. It's a great situation.
It's been a dream of mine to go to E3, brother. So I'm definitely.
It's an amazing situation. Shout out to my block brothers over there, Iron Lord. Shout out to my other brother, Megatron and Hip Hop, who will be on here next month. Just being with them dudes, and we out doing what we love, we partying, hanging out. But with that being said, the big dog Sony once again is not attending E3. Now, I want to get your opinions on Microsoft support, Nintendo support, and why do you think Sony keeps skipping out? So I'm going to start with you, Paul, man, and I really want you to give your in-depth idea of what you think possibly can be going on with the situation, good and bad.
Okay, so E3 to me is a big deal, even though I've never attended and I don't have that experience, right? But the E3 itself is an event where people from now around the world could gather together, not just there, gather around the computers, gather around their TVs, and get
108 Dragons TV welcomes
or whatever the case may be of just video gaming news for the hobby that everybody loves, right? That was a big week. It was an event that everybody a lot of people that I knew, even some people that aren't like as big into video games,
right?
They would take the time to sit down and watch all the news that was coming out of E3. So E3 to me is important, and I'm glad they're doing something. And I'm also glad that, Microsoft, Xbox, Nintendo, and others are going to be there and support it. That was in doubt for a while. Don't forget when they first started talking about this, a lot of people were questioning whether they'd even get any support out of this, or whether it would show up and be, a bunch of no-name people showing up trying to put together some, ramshackle kind of E3 and call it something big, which it would never be without the backing of Microsoft and Nintendo and the big dogs. Right. So for me, this is great. And I think it goes to show, Phil's always been about this stuff. Has always been like, hey, we got to keep these traditions going. We need this stuff. This is a part of our industry. And I think he's on the ESA board too, as well. So it makes sense.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. So it makes sense that he would back this and say, okay, we're gonna support this. They're probably gonna do some other things too as well. But making E3 still an essential part of the video game industry is huge. And like you just said, Lemon, I really hope it comes back to an actual, public event where we can all meet up. Because again, it's on my bucket list. I've never had a chance to attend, but I'm definitely going to make that happen now. So I think this is a good deal. As far as Sony goes, what Sony's been walking their own path for a while now, and this just goes to show you that they're going to continue to do that. They feel that they have, the right mix with their state of plays, that they don't need E3. Do I think that's a mistake? Yeah, I do. I think when you break tradition, and Sony's breaking tradition in a lot of different ways, it seems like lately, I think that you kind of lose sight of what it means to be a part of this industry in that fashion, right? I think that I don't think, if E3 disappeared and somebody else came along and formed something else, I think it would work out, but again, E3 itself is a tradition, and I don't think you can lose that. Again, Sony's confident. They're the market leader. They're the big dogs in the house. They got the worldwide mind share. They're breaking rank. Okay. Nintendo's done it before. It's a good thing that Nintendo's coming back, but I just think that Sony's losing a little bit of that spotlight by not being there this year, especially after what happened last year, right? And everything was in shambles, right? That nobody could get anything good together. It seemed like everybody was kind of fighting just to try to put a small showcase together to show everybody. It seemed like it was a problem. So, I think that they probably are just saying, look, we don't need to spend the money. We got our own thing. We got plenty to talk about. We're going to do our state of plays, and our fans are going to be happy about it. We don't need E3. Okay. And for me, that's a loss at the end of the day. I'd like to see everybody there because I think it does bring the spotlight from around the world onto that event, and it's a great time to show off what you got going on.
Now, Pong, I'm not Pong. Steve, I'm gonna go to you in the same situation. Give me your pros and your cons about Microsoft and Nintendo's steady full stream ahead, and then give me what you think of what Sony. Maybe they have something that they sleeve that may be a little bit sharper, because from what I've been seeing about these state of plays, the digital events, they're very informal. And even the last indie showcase, we also saw that people was not excited. I mean, wouldn't you feel that if we bumped into a game, or we saw, like when we saw Keanu Reeves step out on the stage, or when we went to Bethesda press conference and then they dropped a bombshell of a new game, the crowd reactions cannot be rivaled by digitally online events. So just give me what you think, man, because I'm telling you, I haven't felt like that since I've been to E3, and I've watched more events recently than we watched in the history of video game consoles and PCs being on the market. I mean, give me what you think about the situation, good and bad.
I think the good side of it for Microsoft and Nintendo to be full stadium ahead on it, it gives E3 the support that they need, because everybody's already in doubt of E3. I believe the whole purpose of just the ESA in total, because I mean they're the ones holding E3. I mean, of course they can get rid of it and maybe save some money, but again, you still want that attention there. And I feel like the whole purpose of E3 was because everybody recognizes it as a day to recognize gaming, or as a week actually to recognize everything in gaming. When the consoles are going to drop, what games are going to drop for the year, what tech is supposed to be coming out for the year for whatever console, whatever device. These are the things that were presented in this time. And you saw people congregate, get together, and get with developers, get with different people, get with these different indie guys. You might get a gameplay slice of that certain game, that next hot game that was coming out. It's the same thing that they were doing with Gears. I remember when people were going to E3 and they were getting in those Gears demos, and you were getting to see that gameplay of people sliding in the walls, getting in the cover, using the chainsaw, and just being hype about it.
Right.
It just took it to a different level. The problem with E3 right now is that it became too consumer facing, and it's okay, but they haven't adjusted to be that. Again, when the one event that is taken seriously by the world isn't taken serious by the committee, or isn't represented by gamers correctly, you get what we have gotten in the last decade. I'm hyped for E3 now. Because I always wanted to go to E3. It was always a dream of mine to be like, yo, I'm going to E3 this year. Getting the ticket, oh, boom, it's a guarantee, and I'm going next year. Right. I'm trying to see everything that's going on, just to be in the environment, to be around other people, and just being around gamers. And in that environment, I can imagine it's just a different feeling, because it's like you're finally in your element. And I always wanted to see what that experience was like, because I can't speak for everybody, but for me, like, I never had to necessarily hide my gaming, but at the same time, it was also frowned upon. You know what I mean? Right. Like, my pops was with gaming up to a certain point, and then it was just like, oh, you're wasting your time. And it was like, well, I'm in tournaments, and I'm about to be able to go pro here within the next 3 weeks. You telling I can't do this? He was like, nah, I don't. That's not making you no money. And then you turn around 5 years later, there's $1 million tournaments being hosted for Gears of War, Halo, Call of Duty, and these were all games that I was on the neck of. You know what I mean? Because that's what I was raised into, and I took it that serious because I was competitive. I was raised in that fighting era where everything was competitive. So it's like now, with that wanting to go to E3 or whatever the case, and it now being a more so a trailer centric event.
Okay.
The only thing I care about E3 about now is what trailers they're gonna show me. What's coming out? Oh, okay. There's no hype behind it no more. There's
You
not.
ain't
I
gotta
don't.
worry about no
I
systems
don't
being
necessarily
launched.
feel like I want to go. You
Right.
know? Yeah, exactly. It's like now it's like I kind of feel deflated by it. It's not as hype. I'd rather go to something like PAX. You see pictures of PAX and you see videos of PAX. You're like, that looks like the better event. They look like they care about their gamers.
It's more personal.
Exactly.
But
But you
E3's
have
got
to be
its moments.
personal.
On the
You
floor,
have
it
to be
has
personal.
moments.
You got to be personal when it comes to this gaming thing. It's just like the indie thing. It's like every time that I talk about that indie thing, it's like the perfect example why nobody takes this serious. Nobody. You want people to take gaming serious or take gamers serious. Brother, we are the biggest entertainment market in existence.
In existence. That's
And
a fact.
and everybody says it's a waste of time.
Not the people that's cashing them checks.
No, not the people cashing them checks, but the majority and the masses of the
They're
world
laughing
feel
straight
that
to the
way.
bank.
Yeah, exactly.
know
The
what
people
I'm saying?
involved, it's different for people that are actually involved. But as far as like the mass, it still gets frowned upon. Oh, gaming is the reason why people are out here killing each other. Oh, gaming is the reason why your kids getting bullied at school. Like, there's so many different things that is getting used. That game is getting used as a scapegoat, and it's hard to pull it out when you have events like that that are dry, unenergized, and it seems like people haven't put the thought, energy, or effort into it. Again, like Pawn was saying, and everybody's been saying pretty much, Phil's on the board, so he's gonna, of course, Microsoft, man, they're gonna show out a little bit. Why not?
And
$1 million,
Nintendo, we gotta
whatever
give
you want to
kudos
support.
Nintendo, because last E3, Sony left their space. Listen, Microsoft had they building, and all the third parties took part of that space, and Nintendo took the rest. And there was no shortage of games, excitement, or anything. I just want to see Sony there because, as a purchaser, I support the brand. And I would like, like I was telling y'all, we was in our chat before the show, is that Sony dudes is on Xbox lines and didn't give a damn.
Yeah, because that's not what it's about at that point.
They was just happy to touch games. The environment was still electrifying. It was not empty. It still was standing room only. You still got to talk to devs. Shout out to the dudes that made the what y'all seeing now, the Dreamcast Mini. They was there. They had a nice space. And I am gonna say this for the record. With E3 not happening digitally, we get to see more indie games. Because at E3, they don't really have a presence. They do not. It's
for the big boys, right?
Right. It's for the big boys. You have some of them on the sidelines. You see one or two games, but there's 1,000 guys making indie games. You know what I'm saying? They used the first E3 I went to. There was more people outside. They had the PC section outside because they even have a small market when it comes to E3. But that's not an E3 problem. That's how much they want to invest. Indie developers don't got the money to invest like a Sony, a Microsoft, a Nintendo, and I think they need to be showcased. They need to be out there. But now you see, like Microsoft, what they did a couple weeks ago, they gave the indie people a showcase. They didn't give them the money, but at least you have a platform to say, listen, we can show our games, we can talk about it. That's what I was telling you before, Steel, because at E3 they don't have no presence. I mean, it's very, very minimal. But we're gonna move to my boy PK Entertainment, the most entertaining light-skinned brother on the panel. Give me your opinion on this E3, the support from Sony, the support from Microsoft and Nintendo, and the non-support from Sony. Where you going with this?
So let me just say great points from our guests, man. You guys are knocking out the park as usual. You guys are highly talented and got very good perspectives. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
When I look at E3, I look at it like the biggest
Megatron in the building. 108 Dragons TV welcomes you, brother.
Kind of like WrestleMania, kind of like the Super Bowl, kind of like Evo, right? It's where everybody come together from all parts.
Yep.
Not just for the event, but for everything in between. And my thing is, when you look at the participants that were announced so far, I mean, they got what? Besides Xbox and Nintendo, you got Capcom, you got Ubisoft, you got Take-Two, you got Warner Brothers, you got Koch Media. Man, And guess what? Even Konami showing up.
All right.
Konami
I got
out
a
of
question
all
before you keep
people
going.
who
Let
is
me ask-
known to not have made any games
Right. I was going to
is
ask you that.
showing up
What
to
game you think they're
E3.
going to bring?
What does that mean?
They're auctioning off those IPs live on stage.
Personally, I'm looking for a new Yu-Gi-Oh game, but I'll back off of that. But at the same time, this is telling. This says like, this is a celebration of gaming. This is also showing that they want to support the community. By looking at Sony, these are your partners, homie. How you gonna bail out on your partners that made your platform what it is? You can't sell your systems by itself.
Yeah.
Even with the games you have, you only have what 8 to 11 studios, bro. And you're talking about remaking some old games every generation. You need your partner support, so you should be out there supporting your partners. And that's a bad look in my opinion. I just think that when you got all these big name third party people out there trying to push and keep this this genre growing, right? I mean, gaming is huge, bigger than all entertainment, making more money in all entertainment. Why not? Why not be there to show up, at least show face? Nobody said you had to have a show, but let's be honest. How many state of plays have we seen in the past year that's been just as good as an E3 presentation,
None.
or even come close?
None.
So if there and everybody, even the diehard Sony guys, can admit that it just don't have the same energy, and it does not. It feels hollow,
Yes,
right?
it does.
And that's the point. You want to evoke that emotion. You want to evoke that hype train. You're not trying to slow it down and burn it out. You're trying to keep that energy moving.
Facts.
And all I'm saying is that's what we want to do. If a company like Konami shows up, a company that has not even been in the mainstream making games in the past 6-7 years, everything else has
Dragons
been
TV
mobile
welcomes everyone.
and side projects, not a major title release.
Facts.
That tells you something. That's telling, bro. That means you got to take your community seriously. And I'm not trying to bash Sony, but I'm just saying maybe leadership need to be changing. Maybe the way that they're going isn't the best route. Because if Nintendo shows up and they only released 2 new games last year, the whole 2020, they only released 2 new games.
Mhm.
But they coming.
Yep.
Yeah, facts.
They coming.
With a huge area. Huge.
Yes.
And all I'm saying is they are 100% there to not just support their brand, but to support their partners who put them out there on top, right?
Mhm.
And definitely the community that loves them,
That's a
that's
fact.
still willing to spend money and buy the same game over and over every generation, right? You got to keep that energy going, and you got to keep that invoke that emotion that made these guys excited to invest into your ecosystem.
Facts. Now that's my main thing. It's not really always about sometimes the bigger picture. They just opened E3 the last couple years to the public. Now you bail out, you're killing your fans. That's how I felt when they made that negative energy, like, oh, we're not going to E3. But you didn't just hurt E3, you hurt your fans who comes to E3, who's able to buy that $150 ticket, $175 ticket. You know what I'm saying? That's my thing. And before I get into my boy Sick on the end of this topic, pay attention to that chat, people. First come, first serve. I'm dropping the first switch code sometime within this podcast. I ain't telling you when. First one, first come. So whoever got them fastest Twitter fingers, I guess you better get the Twitter finger rated up, because I'm dropping these codes like we do every Saturday at 7 o'clock on this podcast. Now, with that being said, and nobody on the panel could get no codes, no cheating.
That's hands.
Especially
Never
I'm ready. I'm ready.
It's only for the
Not
people.
switch, so whatever.
But
It's only for the people.
Sick, give me your opinion on this topic, man. and take us out with a bang. What you got for me?
All right, bro. You know, the thing about it is, you know, going last on certain topics when you're on a podcast is great because you get to hear what everybody else on the panel has to say. You don't have to repeat things that have already been said. But I do gotta mention a few obvious facts first, and then we're gonna use that as, you know, a stepping stone to talk about other things. So first off, E3 is like Christmas. It's like the Mecca for gamers.
Facts.
I know myself. I take off every year to watch E3 for every day it's on. To
That
watch
makes two.
all the press conferences.
I don't go to work.
Everything. I don't go to work.
I don't go to work on E3 week. I don't talk to my kid. I don't talk to nobody.
Yup.
That's
As
a fact.
soon as they announce, you know, that general week, I'm letting HR know, hey, I need to take off these days.
That's right.
Submit my PTO, all of that, right? And last week we got some more confirmation about specific dates on who's doing what. And, you know, I went right back to HR to clarify details, okay? And I told them from, December about this year's E3. I didn't tell them why. I just told, I need off these days. Let me know. I want those. Because if I tell them E3, maybe they'll be like, no, just this is what I do, okay? And you are there to watch what these console manufacturers have to say, what these publishers have to say, what they have to show you, what you're planning on buying for that next year until the next E3, what you're planning to play, what you're hoping for. You know, you're going to get that plan ready, you know, to inform yourself on the titles that you're going to spend your hard-earned money on, okay? And, you know, for Sony to act like, oh, E3 is not jam for them anymore and blah, blah, blah. Listen, when I first it started off, they really had nothing to show off at E3. The year before last, it was like, 3 games? And they kept switching the venue and pausing to do some boring dude with a guitar. It's because they didn't really have much to show. But I thought, hey, they're launching a console next year. They just came off of launching a lot of games. So they're in a bit of a dry spell. They're recharging the batteries for next year when they come out with their next console. And they're going to have a bunch of games at that E3. But that didn't happen because of the pandemic, and they weren't planning to be there. But if you notice, the other 2 console makers are going to be there, Microsoft and Nintendo. Konami's going to be there. You know, all the other publishers are going to be there. Sony's the odd man out. But you got to look back at, you know, the rumblings that we've been hearing about the ESA and the whole drama about the data leak and all that other stuff. And then you see Jeff Keighley is the one who's trying to pick up that drop ball, you know, that football ball and run with it and get that touchdown in real quick. Like, but no, Jeff Keighley. I see you, and I'm going to put the accusation out there because if you notice, it's Sony that doesn't want to be there. It's Jeff Keighley who's trying to take up that spot and run the new E3, right? With his whole event. Like, isn't just these guys is trying to run roughshod over the industry and say, no, we're in control now, you know, and we're gonna be putting that information out there. No. E3 is a whole vibe. It's a whole thing. I haven't been there. Lemon's been there. PK, you said you've been there before to E3?
No, I ain't never been yet.
Okay, but the 4 of us wish we'd been, right? We wish we'd been. Last year I would have been there, but pandemic. And it's like something that but now all this talk about, E3 is dead. Listen, the people
to be at that Megatron rooftop party. That's where it's lit at. That's where it's lit. Starts off the E3 weekend right.
E3 is dead. I notice it's coming from the same people with that same agenda, and I ain't with it because just like you said, without Sony, E3 is still filled to the brim with people, publishers, companies. Like, all right, Sony, you don't want to be there? Well, they'll take your spot and they're happy
sure did
because they need more room to show off what they do. And let me talk about the indies real quick. You guys were talking about the indies because it was a running gag for many years when dudes would say, you know, we eventually, you know, if you watch on G4, whoever, like eventually they go to the basement. They go to the basement to see all that weird stuff, the indie games, the guys who don't have the money, you know, to advertise heavy. And it's like one person there might be the programmer or 2 people there, right? And then and maybe his wife is doing the PR, you know, and that's it. But there's been some gems there in software and hardware. And a lot of people used to joke about that. And CS is the same way too. There's always that basement, but that basement is where the real innovation is happening. Okay. And so, you know, if I ever get to go to E3, that's the thing I really want to do. As much as I want to see all these press conferences and big games and play all these things, I definitely want to try a lot of these indie things and see what's up too. So E3 is the truth. Like, anybody sitting here pretending like it's not? No.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta give my people in the chat, y'all lit, man. Y'all just made me chuckle and laugh. I threw up the laugh symbol for y'all. You don't have to teach me how to blow on no controllers. I'm good. I'm good. I just sort of laugh looking at it like, oh, that feature. Listen, that and them triggers that listen, they're off. They're off. And let me tell you something about the adapter, because I'm gonna tell you something real quick. The adaptive triggers is a great idea, but if you're playing a shooting game, right, and you trying to shoot somebody, and the trigger is fighting you back, that's not a good look for me. I turned it off. First time I played a shoot over there, I said, this might be good for like a racing game, you know, on gravel or mud. But shooting games, it's like some people turn on vibration in a controller, which I don't, but it's not built for everything. So with that being said, we're going to move into the next topic. And Sick, you had everybody on the panel had great opinions. And what I'm going to say about E3 is it can't be rivaled by no goddamn digital event. And I'm going to leave it right there. I don't care what nobody says. Shout out to my boy King David. He said last week, E3 dead. Well, I hope not, because that's a big time. We all get together and do what we do together as a gaming community. Ain't no digital event. Listen, if I told everybody, yo, everybody meet at my club, 3 big TVs, and we watching an event together, it still wouldn't be the same as us being on that floor together, witnessing and experiencing these gaming events and situations. You can't beat that with no digital event. You know how they getting hyped? They'll show something like MLB The Show goes to Game Pass, and all the content creators are hype on their channels. People are like, all right, yeah. But imagine if they brought that out on E3 stage. People gonna pass out. Oh, Jesus. They're gonna be fanning them. That's a fact. But let's move on to the next topic, man. I don't really want to stay too long in this because everybody done beat this topic up, but we got to talk about this Kojima situation, man. Is it good? Is it bad? I'm not going to really voice my opinion. I'm going to let the panel rip. So we're going to start with you, Sick. Be short and easy and just tell us what you think.
Yo,
is it a yay or nay?
Listen, it has to happen. It has to happen. I feel Konami's going to be there, and they've been out of it for a while, and we're hearing all these rumors. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see what's going on. And Kojima,
so you think this is happening?
I'm starting to believe it. I'm really starting to believe it. I'm giving it 60-40. It's really going to happen, and every day it seems more and more likely to me.
Okay.
Like next week, I'll probably be 70-30. It just goes to show.
All right, we're going to go to our financial advisor, a.k.a. PK Entertainment, the most electrifying light-skinned brother on the internet. But I know what you're going to say. Just repeat it for the people.
Hey, I'm just going to keep it short and simple. Listen.
Kojima killer.
Would it be a good thing that he partners with Microsoft? Possibly. But for a new IP, obviously. I know a lot of people keep talking about Death Stranding, but I'm trying to tell you guys,
we don't want that.
That is a Sony published IP.
No, we don't want it though. We don't want it.
We don't want it anyway.
I know. But I just want to remind people.
Keep the UPS simulator to themselves.
No one seems to understand that it's a Sony published IP. It will not be on Xbox.
All right? Thank you, Sony. That's the best thing you did in the last 2 years.
But outside of that, hopefully it's something new, but also hopefully it's something that he can remain in his budget, because that's one of his main problems, right? Whatever it is, if he hasn't already started working on it, it's going to be years off before it gets
3
it done
years,
anyway.
easy. Right.
So I mean, honestly, it's a rumor. If it happens, it'd be cool, but it's not like it's gonna happen next month or anytime this year. So I think we should just take it in a grain of salt and just kind of see what happens.
Okay. Pong, if you have an opinion, give it to us.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Of course. Is that why you got me here,
Yo, no,
Lemon?
fact. I'm just saying because people been killing this guy all week. I'm like, yep, it's Dragon's Den time.
No, I'm a big believer in gathering together as much talent as possible. Steele and I talked about this morning. Live in split screen. I've talked about it. I'm a big believer in Kojima. I'm not a huge. Okay, look, I can still appreciate his creative talents, despite not always liking his games. Okay, I can keep those two things separate. I don't have to like everything he does to know that the guy is still a creative genius. Okay, and he's eccentric. There's some personal stuff out there about him that makes him, not in the best light. I heard, comments that he made towards Western gamers.
You see, that's where I'm at.
Are out there. Correct. But this happens in every industry, whether musicians have done it, actors have done it, everybody's done it at some point. You get those guys with the big giant egos and they say stupid stuff all the time, right? And they do things. Okay, you do have that baggage, right? But the guy is a creative genius, and you need those people in this industry. He thinks outside of the box, and sometimes he thinks so far outside the box, nobody understands what the hell he's saying. But at the end of the day, a lot of his stuff is good for the industry, and it brings interest. And there is a big following of Kojima fans. And with where Microsoft is at, where Xbox is at in a growth phase for Game Pass being the key here, you bring somebody like that in. Like Steele and I talked about this morning. If this Konami smoke stuff is actual fire and those IPs are available, and I understand what PK is saying, there's going to be a new IP involved in this as well.
Right.
But if those IPs are available over at Konami, whether it's for licensing or full out purchase, okay.
Megatron in the building 108 Dragons TV welcomes you, brother.
IPs available doesn't happen very often. Okay. And Phil knows this. Okay. So this is like any other, you can take any analogy you want, but the best one is a sports team. It doesn't matter. Okay. It doesn't matter what league you're talking about. You got a chance to go get a big time free agent, even if he's somebody that comes with some baggage, right? Even if he's somebody that may be declining a little bit in his skills. If some people want to question whether he's overrated, that's fine. I can hear those arguments.
Right.
Still go get him. Why? Because he's going to put butts in the seat. Okay. That's what he's going to do. And if it works out, he's going to give your team a chance. Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's what you do. You bring Kojima in, you bring people back, you bring more people into the ecosystem. Meanwhile, before his game even launches, the talk of the town is going to be nonstop up to the point where we actually see what he's doing. It's going to be about, I wonder what Kojima's doing. Man, look, I can't believe Xbox got that guy. Oh my God, I can't wait for it to drop into Game Pass. It's going to be that talk of the town that's going to continue the hype train. And Xbox has a lot of it, right? They're going to have a lot of content coming. Oh, yeah. But a Kojima is one of those names, and there are very few developers that people know on site. And he is one of them.
Yeah, he's definitely a celebrity. He's a celebrity.
He is. And again, he comes with baggage. It's a roll of the dice. You don't know what you're going to get. If he does a new IP, it could be a hit, could be a flop. You roll that dice, though. Microsoft doesn't care. They got money to burn right now. Okay, right. They're in the growth. They're in the growth stage. This is when you go take the chances. This is when you go make these big, bold moves like they did with ZeniMax. This is what you do. You go do it. Roll the dice. Who cares? If it doesn't work out, guarantee you he brought X amount of people into your ecosystem. And then, by the way, they saw all the other content that you got in Game Pass and stuck around and kept their subscriptions. That's why you go do this.
That's a fact. And you kind of swayed me just now because I've been against this dude since he disrespected us as Western gamers. That's Canada, United States, and Europe. He didn't get his way. He pulled a Cliff Belinsky. Because, it's like what I told my boy. Somebody calls me the N-word, you're a developer. I'm not buying nothing that you make.
Okay.
It's the same. It's along the same lines. And some people didn't understand. Why are you being so hard? I'm like, he insulted all of us. He don't have to say it to me. He said, Western gamers, y'all don't know how to game. You don't understand artistic game mindsets, and you don't play games that make sense. I was like, what did we do to you? Because I'm pretty sure we all bought all your Metal Gears when Japan did not. Yep. Japan don't buy Metal Gear. It's a Western-based game.
Japan. Exactly.
So, I couldn't understand it. But you know what, Pong? You brought up some great points, and you have swayed me to the dark side. You know what I'm saying? Maybe Kojima is my father. I don't know. But I'm just saying. You know what? I'm gonna go your path because you have gave me a different perspective, and I respect that. Because I was like, man, I'm anti Kojima, and I love every Metal Gear. The stories don't make sense. They don't.
Correct. They don't.
They definitely contradict themselves. But I'm gonna go your route, and I'm gonna do the passive aggressive, and I'm gonna support if he comes over. And he makes a title for us. The points that you brought up, that what he can bring to the table, I'm gonna go with that because I surely was like, man, this dude could jump over a roof. But I'm gonna retract that. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go your way. I'm gonna look at it like that. I'm not gonna take it personal, but I think we all should just keep him back in mind because if his next game don't rock like he wanted to,
he got to go.
We all know who he is, right? We all know who he is. But I'm telling you something. Gamers have short-term memories, and if we get a Gears of War exclusive, or Gears of War, if we get Metal Gear exclusive to finish off his story on Xbox,
we'll build a little bit different about it because I'm not fond of Cliff Belinsky and the things he say, and I'm surely not fond of that Lawbreaker situation about being on PlayStation and blue is better and all that kind of BS he put out there. And when your game flop, I got 90 people to feed. You should have thought about that before you disrespected where your real fan base is at.
He apologized later.
Yep.
He apologized.
Everybody apologizes later. All the sports people that get caught saying stuff, all the actors and directors that get caught saying stuff after they get caught. Now they sorry because everybody done retracted their endorsement. Yeah, be sorry beforehand. We're not doing that. How about this? Don't say anything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know you're in the public eye. Just be quiet.
Yeah.
Don't give me 20 statements how much you. Well, I didn't mean that.
I mean,
you just showed your true colors. We good.
I pointed out the guys like that. They got an ego, bro. They can't help themselves. They gonna
gets them in trouble.
I get it.
Gets them into trouble.
But get it.
Yeah.
The reason you got that money is because we paid for your product.
Correct.
Yep.
Correct.
Okay, it don't matter about your ego. Because if we bought nothing, you would be at Pathmark packing bags. That's a fact. But we bought all your games and made you that so-called genius, an amazing individual, because we purchased millions of your games in the West. No excuse. I don't care. Everybody starts somewhere. But with that being said, Rain, give me your energy on this, brother. Give it to me clean.
Look, man, everybody, Paul knocked it out the park. He's took everything I was going to say. So there were so many points that I was going to be like, oh, everybody's ignoring it. But not just to kind of compliment it, man, because we've talked about it all week. Look, Kojima is an addition to what Microsoft already has going on. That's great. If the game gets into Game Pass, that's what they're looking for. Like Pong was saying, they're looking for the eyes. He has a fan base. He has a cult following, literally, that will follow him wherever he goes. So if he drops a game on Xbox, it's going to be good for that. The example, and the whole thing about Kojima's creative thing, like I like to talk about that because there's other creators, like you bring up Cliff. He's somebody that I used to idolize because of Gears. I used to
change 360
because of Gears of War. Cliff Bleszinski was like a god to me. He was like, oh man, this guy is so great. Like he's probably the best developer I've ever seen make a game because that's how much I love the Gears.
Right.
When you get these creatives that get so deep in their ego and then they put out a game that people don't understand, don't get, or it's just a bad game, they come up with this, y'all are just complaining, y'all don't get it, whatever. No.
It's our fault.
And then an example for Kojima, what I like to go back to is, brother, look at your own home country. Who bought your game? It's not just us. So you can't say, oh, it's Western gamers, they don't understand. No, nobody understands. That's why it didn't sell. Period. We as gamers still have the option to decide. You can be as creative as you want to. It's kind of like what I was talking about with Outriders over last night and today, this morning. The thing with Outriders and them making the changes that they're making, the only thing that makes sense to me, regardless of what anybody else says and thinks, is that they felt like something was out of balance for them. It worked out of what they wanted out of the game. Now, as gamers, we have the option to, regardless of what the dev does, to speak up and say whatever issues that we're having with the game. We also have the option to leave your game and let it die if it does not hold up to the potential that we feel that it has. That's the thing about gaming. You can't blame your consumer that you're trying to sell your game to for why your game did not sell. It didn't click. You tried to be too over the top with it. It is what it is. Now, if he gets another Metal Gear, me personally, I didn't start hopping on that train about Kojima, whatever the case, until I didn't hop on the Metal Gear train until Metal Gear Rise for Vengeance, and I thought that game was great. It was one of the greatest games I felt like I ever played at that time. And then Metal Gear 5.
No, that's not his name.
No, it's not. But it's still Metal Gear is still his baby. You know what I'm saying? So coming out of that world and then going into Metal Gear 5, because that was the very next game that I played that I know is part of his too.
But hold on, let me say this for the record. You know what's amazing? That was a platinum game, and that dude that's partnered in that company has a problem with his mouth too about us.
No, that's a fact.
Ain't that a
That's a fact. That's a fact. That's 100% a fact. But then going into Metal Gear 5, as all over the places that story was, I still enjoyed the game for what it is because he knows something with design. He knows what he's doing. Obviously. Yeah, facts. And he could definitely get ready. Like some of those cutscenes, just like woo.
Metal Gear Solid 4, the cutscenes was long. Combined the cutscenes, they was longer than the whole game.
See, and that's a fact. To me, that's not a good thing to have. I'd rather be playing your game than watching your game. It's two different things. But
you don't remember watching the guy talk about his guns for an hour? I went to sleep twice and woke up. He still was talking. But go ahead.
Yeah, facts. Overall, just to hit it home, man. Like it's just a good play. Microsoft is trying to find more eyes and get more eyes. It's one way to do it. Getting somebody from that Asian market that has a big name that people tend to believe in. It might open up other opportunities and say, hey, well, if they're allowing Kojima to make whatever, or if they get the IP from Konami and that actually plays out, or if Konami says at E3, yo, we're teaming up with Xbox to do such and such and such and such, and that's why they're there with Kojima and they bring him out on stage, that's going to put butts in seats, brother. I mean, regardless of how you feel about the man, people are going to turn upside down.
That's a fact.
They're going to be like, oh, I need to have Game Pass then.
That's a fact.
Just because of how it is. But again, like PK was saying, but who knows when the game's going to come out? 2024? Like, come on, man. Like,
but you know what? Sometimes developers are already making games and they just looking for a publisher.
No, that's a fact.
It could be a situation like that.
But the other thing with it too, though, it's not like
he's been fired again.
Yeah. But the other thing too, though, is that at least with Microsoft, he'll have time to work on whatever game that he wants to work on. Because how they have it set up. Microsoft has all these studios at this point now. And it's to the point where if you need to spend 5 years making a game, spend 5 years making a game. We just don't have the same 3 games churning out every few years to keep us afloat.
But I would counter that. I'm sorry, I got pushed back on that, buddy. Because what happened to one of their own studios who was working on one of their games. They went over budget and they kept trying new things, but they eventually had to cut the cord.
That's what I was going to ask Pong. Do you want to risk money on this dude's vision and wait 5 years and spend $500 million and get it done?
I still think there's going to be a limit. I still think there's going to be a limit to
keep him on a short leash.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That dude.
Yeah, no, and I get that. And again, there's one company that can do this, it's Microsoft and
Facts.
Xbox. And I understand that there's a point, and I understand that there's still people have to answer the questions that are going to come if he does go over budget, if he takes too long. Yeah, Phil's going to have to answer those questions to Satya and say, well, why the hell are we spending the money on this guy, right? I get
and
that.
Has
fact.
a bad track record. It's not like his track record is good with that. You know, it's kind of bad.
Correct. But you got to roll that dice. And what I'm saying is that Phil's on board with this. That means he's already talked to Satya about it. He's cleared it. And they've said, look, we know your past history. Now, here's the thing that people need to remember. Okay. That kind of changes the dynamic a little bit. And again, we don't know facts. We don't know what's going to come out of this if it comes to fruition at all. Okay. But the point of fact is that he made comments 2 years ago that he wanted to do a game based upon streaming and cloud, right? That was he had a big vision for this. He was super impressed. Now he was trying to pitch an idea to Stadia. Now the latest is that Phil Harrison actually just fixed it completely. It wasn't even off the ground. He just said no to the deal. But rumor is that it is an episodic horror game. Okay. And if it's episodic, that means he's going to be pumping out a portion of that game on a regular basis, which fits the Game Pass model perfectly. Okay,
that's you're saying like a Telltale game.
Correct, like a Telltale's.
Right.
So you're going to talk about
started.
Correct. You're going to talk about a shorter development time, right? Because he's going to need to plan it out so that and if there's one thing he's good at, it is planning. Now, going over budget and all that kind of garbage, but his games come out. And they usually run very well, right? They're really high quality, right? But if he's going to do episodic, he's going to know the only way to keep people interested in episodic content is to make sure that you are on point with your timeline and that you are getting that game out on a regular basis. Now, his ego might say, I can put it out whenever and people are going to buy it. I get that. But the point being is that fits that Game Pass model. So if he wants to do that, and that's Phil's first pitch is like, okay, I know you had this thing going with Stadia, episodic horror, perfect. Let's do that. Great. And then you can start working on Metal Gear later because I'm going to go ahead and get these IPs, by the way. Or if you want to do Silent Hill, do Silent Hill. I think that could change the dynamic of the problem that he has with being, going over budget or taking too long or both. I think that could help the situation.
Nice. You can do whatever you want, honestly, and this will burn him in the industry.
If he gets fired,
this is your final attempt. This is your final attempt. With Microsoft, that's the other thing. With Microsoft, this is your final attempt. When Microsoft gets on the diving board and says, "Look, you can either jump or we can keep trying to make this work. You're either gonna make it work or you're dead in the industry. It's a wrap. Nobody's gonna want to mess with you after that. That's 3 in a row, brother. Nobody's gonna go for that. No matter how big your name is, you can have all the ego you want. If your game don't deliver, it don't matter.
You know what? I approve of all these statements today, man. I really do, man. Y'all dudes are hitting the bells and whistles. Shout out to the chat, man. I see y'all lit in the middle. Nice. We got my team out here, my GRG team. We got our TXR team. We got our 4 guys in quarter team. You listen, man. One thing I say about my chat every weekend, man, is not only do subscribers and people who've been supporting me for years come out, the content creators come out and support, man. And that means a whole lot to me because we all do the same thing. And it's definitely a positive situation when your own community supports you, man. So I definitely approve of that, man. And I thank everybody. I'm very humbled to have everybody in here. So we're gonna move into the next topic. We're gonna talk about Sony's response to MLB on Game Pass. Now, everybody has really been killing Sony about this Game Pass deal, but we know the game is being published by MLB, and we also know that MLB basically threatened Sony into saying, with this being said, let me say, if you don't put this on an Xbox platform, we're going to give this MLB license to everyone because we're not making enough money on one console. That's basically what they said. Matter of fact, that's what they said. So, with Sony's salty ass response last week, or this week, saying they basically wanted to stop what was going on, but don't have no control because at the end of the day, it's like when we talked about Spider-Man. You monopolize the character onto one platform for one demographic of player. Imagine if they did that to Batman in the Arkham Knight series. we all would be pissed. So with that being said, we're gonna go to you, Pong. What did you think about Sony's salty ass remarks on Game Pass? And do you think the attach rate compared to being sold on PlayStation would struggle to hit 1 million too?
Yeah.
Do you think the numbers will be greater on Game Pass because everybody could download it day one, even with the 3 to 4 month window?
Yeah.
Talk to me.
I'll talk to you about this. So first of all, as far as the response goes, I kind of picture Jim Ryan getting an envelope in the mail, and he takes the envelope, and it's got the MLB address on there, and he's like, man, what's the MLB sending me? And he opens it up, and there's a check in there, and he goes, what with a number on it, and he's like, what is the MLB sending me money for? And then there's a letter, and it just says, Game Pass, your portion. And that's all it says. And that's all it says.
Oh
boy, that's messy. But that's what's gonna happen. You know,
Right.
here's your developmental
There-
fee.
with
We'll
the
take everything else down the stretch.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, and I don't mean to be messy, but
It's the
Sony
facts.
themselves are admitting they're admitting they didn't have any control. So that's basically what happened, right?
Mhm.
Microsoft, Xbox, Phil, whoever called up the MLB, said, "Hey, we know you're publishing the other games, the game on other platforms. You're the publisher. So hey, by the way, have you heard of Game Pass? We've got 20 million people. We'd like to put that game day and date.
Pong. No, you're not gonna shortchange our service. 22 million
Okay.
plus.
22 million plus. That is fine. I'll see your 22 and go to 25. All right. We'll say 25 right now because I bet you it's close. Okay.
Mhm.
But no. So that's what happened. And that, Sony may have known about it. Obviously, they would have had to be told, but they didn't have anything in the contracts, obviously, that prevented it. They never put any safeguards in place for this situation. So to some degree, they agreed to it in advance because
Thanks.
even in 2019, Game Pass was a thing. Might not have known it was going to be this big, right? But at the same time, they knew it was there. They could have put safeguards in. If MLB would have allowed them to put safeguards in there, we don't know the whole story. But the whole thing is they could have prevented this previously. That didn't happen. So guess what? MLB took advantage. MLB's not going to pass up the bag. There's no way.
Yeah.
MLB wants more people. Look, baseball is one of the cornerstones of America in the sports. We know it's one of the 4 major sports. It is also one of the least popular sports.
And
Pandemic
it's struggling
happened.
financially for the last 15,
correct.
20 years.
20 years, and then you got the pandemic last year, right? They need as many fans as possible. They need more fans, right?
Facts.
They need new fans to come in. How do you do that? By getting the best version of your game as a video game into more people's hands. And that's exactly why all this happened. So
Facts.
of course they're not going to pass that chance up. When Microsoft probably showed them the numbers, I'm sure they probably showed them a couple stats about what happens. And we're seeing it right now with Outriders. When you drop a game in there, I'm sure the MLB said, and you're going to give us money for this? Do it. Let's do this. And that was it. So, again, Sony's response just, kind of just, it says what it says. What else are they going to say?
Facts.
Well, I think they should have responded. I think they should have given their customers, the same game in PS Now or PS Plus or whatever.
Oddworld. They don't do back-to-backs. What's wrong with you?
Right. Exactly. But they should have.
They should have. What's MLB to show? Right.
But no, I mean, so that's how it went down. And yeah, as far as the Game Pass, I just alluded to it. As far as what that's going to do for the game, we're seeing it right now. We're seeing it happen before our very eyes. We've seen it multiple times. Okay, we know EA's happy about having other sports games in there. We certainly know 2K is not having a problem dropping the NBA in there now
and
as
they
well.
dropped it in earlier. They dropped it in earlier.
Correct.
They usually drop it in after the next game comes out, and then they put the old one in.
Yeah.
And Madden came earlier. Madden came earlier too.
Way earlier.
They know.
Earlier, right.
They know.
They're trying to put eyes on that game, man. That's a fact. And they both have microtransactions, which help support their brand, besides just the Game Pass bonus situation. That's a fact.
It's exactly what it's about. So, of course, I believe that at the end of the day, when this is all said and done, I think the MLB is going to see. I would be willing to bet that MLB will see larger numbers on the Xbox side than they do on the
no doubt.
PlayStation side.
No question.
Without a doubt.
No question.
Without
Even
a
if
doubt.
5 million people download it, it's still that's
Oh, yeah.
triple what they see over here. Well, before I go over here to my man PK, I gotta shout out my sister in the chat. Y'all know her channel. Y'all need to support her on everything she do. She definitely be putting up some sick videos about weapons because she goes from soldiers that game to soldiers that aim. It's my
Ooh,
big
okay.
sister's Miss K, one of my greatest supporters on the block. And welcome, sis. Good to see you in the building. I see you out in these gaming streets. And we're gonna go back over here to the most electrifying light-skinned brother on the podcast, my man PK. Give me your opinion on the situation. Why is Sony so goddamn salty?
You know, I don't know how they feel, right? We just, basing it on the comment that they, at the very least, we can speculate that they at least tried to stop it,
Right.
So I believe that's why it's being published by MLB to circumvent that block, right? Especially the Game Pass deal. I think that is what really triggered the Game Pass deal, is the fact that their MLB is publishing it. And I'm gonna give a shout out to Aaron over at Square, that when we interviewed him, he gave us an insight. Like,
no. Hold on. Where did you interview him at?
On 4GQ TV.
And what does that stand for?
Okay.
4 Guys with Quarters.
Let's go.
Hey. Okay.
So,
Talk to him.
Talk to him, boy. Let's go.
So like he put it out there, like, Outriders, brand new IP. He said, man, and he's a Sony guy. He admitted it when we interviewed him. He is a PlayStation fanboy, but he has to give mad respect to Phil and his team. He said they are doing numbers. He said it made me feel like, you know what? I'm gonna have to get me a Series X next week.
Phil Spencer is not
Let
playing.
me tell you, you can't beat it. All right, putting your game in front of 20 plus million people is a win, and both companies are financially getting a value out of this. Both sides.
Facts.
So
Everybody's winning. Consumer, developer,
and I know
publisher.
I know the myth out there is that because it's on Game Pass, it's not making money. People are not buying it. That is not true. If you look on Xbox store, the top paid games is Outriders, Outriders, and It Takes Two. Let me just be real. Game Pass just means more people get to try a game. They're not going to want to let it go, because once it leaves Game Pass, they're going to hold on to it. And that's what I'm trying to put out there. Is it's not a deterrent of saying you can't own the game. And it's the same thing that MLB sees, is they see the numbers. Think about it. Think about back in the day when your moms get the Sunday newspaper, cut out all those coupons. You know why those coupons are there? It's because even though Subway might have a 2-for-1 sale, you might not do it, but every 10 people that might see that coupon, one extra person, that's an extra sale to them. And that's the point. You want to put it in front of a bigger. If everybody had more chance to play the game, that means there's more chance of a sale, more chance you get income, more chance of this deal to be financially lucrative. That's what you want to do. So at the end of the day, I think they feel some type of way, or they might see that as a counter to their offering, where they are making the game, but they have to charge $70.
108 Dragons TV welcomes everyone.
This is the mandate, right? They can't make a difference. And at this point in time, they don't have a plan to give a similar offering to what Game Pass is offering. Okay. Right? I mean, outside of PS Now, PS Plus, what else can they do? And I mean, my opinion, they should do a PS Plus, but again, it's because of Sony's they have to change this
Old-fashioned thinking.
old school mentality of
Right,
doing business,
right.
bro. Because again, I will mention it before. I know a lot of people keep throwing around PS5s outselling here and there, but let's be real. People don't have them in their homes, bro. These
Mhm.
scalpers got them. So that means
Facts.
there's less people buying games. And if that's your only method of relying on people buying games, you're not recouping that cost of what it costs you to ship that system out. It don't matter how many systems you ship when you still losing. You
Facts.
need that software to sell to recoup. And if you can't sell that software, then you coming up with a goose egg. So
And plus,
they
we have to
need to
say this for
figure
the record, PK. Software sales don't drive the company. Excuse me, console sales don't drive the company. It's software sales that make the abundance
unless
of
you
money.
Nintendo. Unless you Nintendo.
Nintendo don't count.
But that's the
That's
only
the
company
that's the
sells
only
that
company.
system at profit, right?
Right,
It's the
right,
only
right,
only company. So, but
right.
outside of that, I think they're upset because they cannot counter that deal. And yes, there's going to be a bigger draw on the Xbox ecosystem because of that deal. But
Okay.
that doesn't mean they're not, they're hurting. That just means they get to keep the license
Right,
and they
right,
got to
right.
keep it moving. Just be smart about it next time around. That's all
That's a
you got to
fact.
do.
Now, before we get into the last man, you've been finishing. You like the best rapper on the group. You finishing all the tracks. That's what I'm talking about, Sick. I see you in the building. Before that, I just dropped that PSN code in
Get
there.
it?
Good luck to the winner. It would be okay if y'all let me know who got these codes. You can see it in the chat.
Facts.
You know, just
Shout out
just
to
say
the
good looking,
Dragon.
Lemon.
Yeah, come on.
You know what I'm saying?
Come
Oh,
on.
I'm sorry. Good looking, Lemon. Good looking. I got you. Thank you.
Yo, Sick, tell me, what do you think about the situation? I've seen you beat it up, but just give people a little general idea what you think about the saltiness coming from Sony and the control that they claim they had that they really didn't. Talk to me.
Bro, the carpet got pulled up from under their feet and they flipped back. It fell on their
108 Dragons TV welcomes Living Split Screen Podcast to the
No
show.
one saw this coming. But you know what? I look back at the PS4. It at least must have sold 120 million by now, at least, right?
At least, right?
And at least, but how many copies of MLB The Show last year sold? I just tried to look up
1.2
some
million
numbers.
or 1.4
1.2 million. That's what I heard.
with
For a
price
platform
drops and
that's-
everything else. And I
Yeah.
bought one too, day one.
Right. So a platform that's potentially sold over 120 million, you only sold 1 and change million. Okay. And that's, you look at games like Spider-Man, God of War, all the big names, they don't really sell that much when you look at the player base. There's 120 million sold and you maybe sold 5, 10, 15. That's nothing when you have this many players.
Right.
You look at on other platforms like the Dreamcast, the attach rate was super high, but usually when you have a super high attach rate like that, that means your system is about to be dead. Xbox broke that mold since the 360. Their attach rate is ridiculous because they have the games and they have a player base who play games and they're or fiending for games. Game Pass is just a perfect fit. And when you look at it in hindsight, it's just like makes obvious sense. But back when it was a new thing, even I didn't stick with Game Pass at very first. I'm like, that's really not for me. But hey, if it's out there, that's cool. But now you look at it and it's just like Sony had no control over this, but their player base just aren't buying games enough to make it worthwhile. So MLB is like, yo, we paid you all this money for this game and it's not selling. No. We got to get our money for this game. The pandemic, everything is, our pockets ain't as fat as they normally are, just behind this pandemic alone. Plus, you're not keeping your end of the bargain up. It's got to be on everything. And if you're not going to publish it, fine, we'll publish it. It'll be on what King David said wasn't shade. It's just facts. It's embarrassingly, I've never seen something so embarrassing like this before in my life. So, hey, man, it is what it is. It is what it is. You get in life what you put into it. And they didn't put any effort into anything. So that's what happens. Like, okay. So you look at Game Pass, and we'll talk about this with the next topic. Like, it's selling on the competing platforms way more than it is on PlayStation or ever would have at this rate. So you get what you deserve, frankly.
Facts. So we're gonna move into the next topic, and we're gonna stick with this Game Pass situation. Then we're gonna jump into a little bit of 120 frames per second situation. But we're gonna talk about, man, Square Enix has hit a home run, grand slam, over expected, hype, support, servers being held up, slowed down, shut down, overwhelmed. We're gonna talk about Outriders, right? Now for the panel, we're gonna start with you, PK. With the success of Outriders, the community on 3 platforms with huge support, but it seems like Game Pass is easily leading the way. Do you account for the success of this game because of Game Pass, or just because Square Enix and what is it, Fly something? What's the name of the
People
other?
can
People
fly.
can fly.
People can fly. Is it because they made a good game, or is it because it's a good game and it's on Game Pass and the hype is real? Talk to me. What do you think about this whole situation with how the whole community is just all over this title? Talk to me.
I think for sure the community loves the game in general. Like, I mean, let's just be real. It's a looter shooter that's co-op like Borderlands, and me being a big Borderlands fan, it fits right into my, my kind of game. This is my jam, right? Definitely Game Pass attributed to a lot of this success, and a lot of people was able to see other people play the game, word of mouth. You see people reactions, even with the technical issues, people played through it and still having a good time. And that's my thing. And I definitely think Game Pass is a huge thing. They didn't show the numbers at first, but they did show the numbers on Steam, and Steam numbers were phenomenal. So if it did well there, and the Game Pass is doing well, and it's the top 5 best sold games on the Xbox store, right? So that tells you that it's definitely contributing to that. And again, I'll refer back to Aaron. He said this is the beginning. This is the beginning. This is definitely what companies like to see. I mean, look at Sega. Who would have known that all of the Yakuza series would have been on Game Pass?
Right.
Who would have seen Sega find so much success in the Game Pass? And this is not Square's first dibble and dabble in Game Pass. Let's be real. The Kingdom Hearts series been on Game Pass, right? Final Fantasy been on Game Pass, right?
Facts.
It's not over, because they see that even in their old titles, they getting this success pushed through. So this is for sure the beginning. What I'm hopeful for is that Game Pass extends beyond just the console, and also release day and date third parties in the Game Pass on PC. And that will definitely change the game for the PC world.
That's it? You done?
No, well, I mean, I just want to make sure I ain't want to suffocate. I didn't want to.
No. I was like, I thought the stream dropped. I'm like, what?
Nah.
What, you ran out of oxygen? You need some water?
I seen you finally got the slow-mo channel.
No. I was listening to you while I was, it's supposed to be off. I turned it off, but listen.
Yeah.
I wish somebody would have said it earlier, but we got it.
Yeah, we got it. So yeah, I just, I think for sure.
Sorry for the slow-mo, people.
This is a new thing for third-party companies, right? We already know first-party day and date, but third-party day and date, I mean, Streets of Rage dropped. Nobody seemed to really. It was always thrown to the side. Oh, it's just Streets of Rage, and don't awesome. Buy it. Don't support the devs. Buy the game. Don't play it on Game Pass. Like, relax, right? Relax. And then here you go. You got Show. MLB The Show and Outriders. Same freaking month, dude. Let's be real. This is huge.
2 weeks apart.
And it's only going to get better. My thing is stop being in denial and understand where it is. I didn't say you have to buy an Xbox. If you got a PC, my man, go ahead and invest. I'm not saying that if you want to buy the game, you still can buy the game. No one's stopping you. You know, you can spend your money however you want it. I'm not the man to judge. Okay, I got all the platforms and a expensive gaming rig. Who am I to judge? You know what I mean? So definitely go for what you like, and definitely people love this game. Is doing well. It's got good momentum.
Facts. All right, we're gonna go with you still. You've been quiet for a minute. Let's get your opinion on this this amazing situation. That's a great deal for gamers, the gaming community, and for parents who don't game and want their kids to be able to play a multitude of games without spending all this bread per year. Talk to me.
Exactly. Look, man, this whole Outrider situation is the perfect example of what Game Pass can do for you. In its entirety, like Outriders was slept on. Everybody tried to downplay it. It was like, oh, it's just gonna be some fodder. Oh, it's gonna be mediocre. Oh, it's a 360 game. And then the game comes out and it has everybody's attention, even through all the network connection issues, co-op issues. Man, I haven't been able to play crossplay since the game has come out. They just put out a patch to be able to do it today, and hopefully we'll be able to test that out tonight. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things. It's one of those things to where y'all were proven wrong. Y'all thought Game Pass was something that y'all could just sit here and sleep on. Y'all wanted to call Xbox the Netflix of gaming or whatever, even though I hate that comparison.
No,
I feel like
I love
Xbox
it.
is
Who's number one? Who's number one?
Netflix is, but the reason I hate it is because it comes with these certain stigmas with it. You know what I'm saying? Right. I feel like Xbox's intro into it has been a little better, and you can't compare the movie side or the movies, television side of things to gaming. Gaming is much more popular than that, and it can take much more advantage of this kind of a service than that stuff does. As we're seeing. And we're just getting into it. So, look, what Outriders has shown is that you can put a game in the Game Pass, and with the amount of eyes, again, guaranteed 20 million eyes at the bare minimum this point. Right. Bare minimum, we're talking about 20 million people that any developer is going to love to get on their game. That's the whole reason why MLB was like, yeah, well, we want to do it. We've only been getting a milli, less than a milli, almost around a milli, a little over the last almost 5 since the game has existed. Facts. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just keep it a buck. And you're telling me that 20 million people can have the potential to even touch on it? Again, there were some earlier points made earlier in the week. I don't think, and shout out to my guy VJ. I don't think that this play is for us. I think it's for xCloud. Reason being is because baseball is extremely popular in Japan. Baseball is extremely popular in that Asian market. You know what I'm saying? They love it. And to be able to play that on the go, I think that would take MLB to a different level, to the point where Sony's going to make, on the back end, is going to make money off of it regardless. It's a win-win situation. At this point, it just kind of helps the mound that I started kind of building up for myself, because I've been starting to roll with the idea that what is the problem with, if we're going to say Xbox is Netflix, why can't Sony end up becoming, or PlayStation end up becoming Hulu, Disney Plus? Why can't people have your choice of subscription service and you have access to everything? People still making money you're still making their money. Right now, what it's turning into, and Sony being behind the ball, because Microsoft gave the handout. They tried to shake hands and say, Sony, we're doing crossplay. We're trying to do these different things. Here's some cloud. You know, we can finesse some things for you. You know what I mean? Let's work this way together. Because Microsoft doesn't want to see Sony go. They know what they do.
No. Facts.
They know what they do and what they bring. And again, as we want to see constant competition, Sony will not be competition if games start coming in the Game Pass and people see that I have to spend $70 over here while y'all paying 15 max for it. No, brother. It don't work that way.
See, You see,
Max.
no, you know what? You can't be pointing out the facts here.
See,
I'm the only
nah.
one that say the facts. We all can't be on this panel and
We
be
all spit
preaching
facts.
those facts.
We all spitting facts.
You
Because
gonna
that's
get
what
some
it
hate
is.
mail this weekend, brother.
That's fine. Hit the DMs. Hey, I still reign on. Tease the 7. Find me. Look, it is what it is. We're moving into a different era of gaming. Why can y'all not understand that these gaming services are actual benefit to what you're doing? Why do you not understand that it's to a point where games, shout out to my brother,
These are the
Everbull,
facts.
need to be treated as art? That is the whole point of Game Pass.
My homegirl
Allowing
Siri
that
agrees
art
with
to
you, too.
thrive.
These
Siri
are the
agrees with you,
facts.
too. She said these are the facts.
The art to let your Game Pass has become a vehicle to allow your art to thrive. Why would you not put it in there? Why not get those eyes on it? It's only at 20 million minimum again right now. There's 3 billion gamers in the world. What do you think Game Pass is going to do within the next 5 years?
And you know, Go ahead.
All I was gonna say is if Xbox gets to a point, even 50, they want to get 30 million. They're talking about, oh yeah, if we get 30 million, we're good. No. If Xbox gets to 100 million, the same way Disney Plus is at right now, we're talking about a whole different ball game.
Facts.
And like my brother Pong said, we talked about this a little bit in the background. You're gonna be calling Amazon your new place for Sony games. Keep messing around.
Ooh. Damn, the venom is real in this. Yo, this message was approved by Lemetheus, aka right-handed Zeus, and you know my light-skinned brother is definitely onto something. Now, Paul, we're gonna go to you. We're gonna finish up with Sick because you've been the greatest finisher in the game. It's like I got all these weak mumble rappers and Sick is coming through like DMX. Let's go, Pong. Give me your opinions on this, Pong. Talk to me.
Look. This is just the beginning. Outriders is just the latest and greatest to show what the power of Game Pass is. Okay, it's going to get, I've been saying this for a long time. This is what you guys are going to see. And this is kind of bouncing off what Steele was just talking about. When you hit that critical mass point, whatever that point is, whether it's 30 million, whether it's 50 million, whether it's 100 million, when you hit that critical mass point, and we're already approaching it to some degree, and you're seeing the results, what happens is that developers and publishers will get to a point where it is a bigger risk to not put your game on Game Pass than it is to put your game on Game Pass. If you see what I'm saying, it is going to be a bigger risk for developers and publishers, with the exception of a few, right, to not get your game in front of that many people at one time straight out the gates, especially when you're talking about multiplayer games, especially when you're talking about those AAA games that might have a launch window where they're kind of booked in by, you know, a Call of Duty or a Halo or something like that, and they might slip through the cracks. You put that game on Game Pass, it's instant credibility from the standpoint that you're going to have 20, 30, 50, 100 million eyes potentially seeing your game. And the only place that the Netflix description is okay because it's the model that's behind Game Pass. However, the big differences are you don't buy things off of Netflix, right? You can't purchase things off Netflix. There's no DLC on Netflix. There are no microtransactions on Netflix. And that's where Game Pass comes and says, you know what? Not only are we going to give you a little bit of money up front, if that's what you choose to do. Now, Phil's come out and said we do all sorts of different kind of deals depending on what the developer wants, right? So they can adjust on the fly. If one developer wants the money up front and the other one wants a little piece of each transaction, cool. We can do it either way. It doesn't matter to us right now. Think about this. You get that many people eyeing your game. All of a sudden, these studios, these sports games that are based on microtransactions, all of a sudden you're going to start seeing, and we're already seeing, we just talked about, Madden came out a lot quicker than it normally does. You want to know why? Because it gets to the point where they're going to see, okay, look, our first 30 days of sales, that's our prime sales. Okay, that's when we get the diehards.
Like a movie,
all the
same
instant
thing with
buys.
a movie. Right.
That's right. Out the gate. Fine, cool. 30 days out, you're going to start seeing that decline. They're going to say, drop it in the Game Pass. Why? Because it's going to get people involved in that game immediately when the hype's high for the sport and when everybody's pumped, right? And they're going to start dropping money into Ultimate Teams and My Teams and all that garbage right away because it's on Game Pass. They didn't pay a dime for it, even though it's technically not free. It's free to everybody's head.
Right.
Start dropping money on those microtransactions immediately. EA is going to see the benefit there. I probably already are. Why wait any longer? So Outriders itself, since that's the actual topic of this discussion, Outriders itself did something for Square Enix, or in Game Pass, I should say, did something for Square Enix that they failed to do when they launched Avengers, one of the biggest IPs in the world right now, Avengers, and they could not keep that thing afloat. Why? Because they couldn't get the eyes on it, because after everybody found out how shallow that game was, they didn't want to keep going back to it. And I know some people like it, and that's cool with me. But people didn't want to keep playing it. The opposite happened to Outriders. People tried the demo, and we were kind of like, some people were like, man, some of us really liked it. But there was a lot of people, I'm not sure. I'm not going to drop money on this game, whatever else. They drop it in the Game Pass. Everybody goes back to it, and all of a sudden discovers a good game. Discovers a purely fun, satisfying looter shooter, which a lot of people didn't see in the demo. But they went ahead and said, you know what? I got Game Pass. Who cares? Let me try it out. All of a sudden, that word of mouth started to spread. All of a sudden, you started seeing people on Twitch playing it. All of a sudden, that spread, and all of a sudden, Steam numbers started going through the roof because everybody decided that they wanted to play it. That's how this works. That's the benefit of Game Pass. This is just the beginning. They're going to have people lined up trying to get into Game Pass. It's no longer going to be Microsoft and Xbox and Phil and his team going out there selling Game Pass. People are going to be coming to them saying, how do we get in? How do we get my game in here? What's the schedule look like? When can we drop this? That's what's going to start happening with this.
You know what? Shout out to the Living Split Screen Podcast. You two dudes are like the ultimate warrior. Y'all like, you know what? Y'all like a tag team kingpin. What was that team called again? The two brothers, the wrestling crew.
Road Warriors?
That's what y'all are. Y'all the Road Warriors. You know what I'm saying? For Game Pass. Or you like Hulk Hogan and
Macho Man.
And Macho Man team up. You're like, yo, my brother, if you don't got Game Pass, you don't know what it is. Sign up. I ain't ripping my shirt though, but I'm just saying. You heard that straight out of Living Split Screen Podcast, and this message is definitely approved by your boy Lemetius. Now, we gonna go to the greatest finisher in the game, man. Six Slayer, a.k.a. he should have shaved his beard, a.k.a. I don't even know if that's an Xbox hat because he got jungles on his face. But, what's good, my brother? Talk to me. Oh, yeah, it's an Xbox hat. What's good?
You're
Talk
muted.
to me.
He's on
You're
mute,
muted, my guy.
He's on mute.
You're muted, my guy.
He's like, wait a minute.
I kept thinking to myself, don't forget it.
There you go.
I did forget it.
Now you sound low.
Greatest closer is quiet.
And it is what it is. Okay, so you're saying that Game Pass is about 22 million.
About.
If so, at E3, don't be surprised that they announce it's up to 25 million, right? And Pong Soul, you put in the last piece of the puzzle that I didn't have for 2 weeks now, because I think it was here last week or on GRG, I forget which. At the end of the show, I said MLB The Show will probably be on Game Pass at the end of the season. The reason I was too afraid to say it's going to be there day and date, because I really couldn't see a big game like that being there day and date. And here's the piece that you put in. Why would they release it on Game Pass at the end of the season? Yeah, World Series and all that, that'll put some eyes on it. But when the season is starting now, okay, my TV is passing, all these games is starting, the Yankees lost again, things like that. I'm focused and watching because I like to watch the Yankees. But the thing is, you put it day one, there's already 22 million people on Game Pass. That alone is just a victory for the game just being there. And it's only going to get bigger and better. People are talking about 30 million, 50 million, 40, 100 million. That's going to happen. I guarantee at E3, it'll already be at 25, if not more.
Easy.
So when there's already 25 million plus people already there, you put out a big game, it's already a success by default. Okay? That's just a fact. When you look at all these big games that are coming in, everybody's eating. The publisher, the developer, the platform holder, the gamer. Everybody is happy. The only ones that aren't happy are the competition. I'm not worried about the competition. The competition needs to get their weight up.
Oh, my bad.
Ooh. There you go.
But you need the competition because otherwise you'll get complacent.
108 Dragons TV welcomes everyone.
To keep you focused on the road that you have to go full throttle the whole time. Don't let up. They're going to get to 30, then 40, then 50 million. They cannot be ignored at that point. And there's a major rumor going around that there's a waiting list of games to be on Game Pass. Are you kidding me?
Right.
It's a wrap
And
for real.
facts.
I really don't have much else to say. I mean,
I got something a little say on
obvious.
this. I'm gonna make a comment, man. The Game Pass hype train is real. But I'm tired of Microsoft does not tell the truth. And everybody in this panel could pull out their Timberlands, get ready to stomp me, people in the chat. But you know, Microsoft is out here and they're frauding the public. They're really pulling a smoke screen over your faces. And y'all gonna be amazed what I say right now. They out here lying to us. They said it's 100+ games in it. They're lying. It's like 200+ games.
Yeah, closer to
That's
3.
that's all marketing. That's all marketing.
Right.
You know that.
They're being modest as hell.
They're being very modest.
Modest. Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute. You just chopped 20 of your own games. You heard what I said. 20 of your own games. I ain't gonna say Bethesda games. You dropped 20 of your own games because they bought those IPs. They dropped 20 of their own games on one damn day. And then the week before, they dropped 10 other games. And weeks before that, they just dropping games. They'll say, oh, you'll get a bulletin. These 3 games are leaving, but next week we got 17 more dropping. That don't equal each other. Come on, Microsoft. Be a little cocky. Just say what it is.
Lemon, how long do
200+.
games typically stay? How long do games typically stay in Game Pass?
6 months.
At
How long do they
least.
stay? How long do they
At
stay on the
least.
Sony side?
Sony side. Well, what?
They only do their games like that, bro.
Monthly.
Monthly. I was
Wait a minute.
curious.
They
I was
always
asking
put out
for
a
a
video.
friend. My
No,
fault.
they always put
I was
out a video. And I download. Yo, shout out to PlayStation. When PlayStation came out, PlayStation Plus, you had those opportunities to take those older games that you had to trade in your disc and re-download them. I did all that. Yeah, right? I just got Oddworld. You know, that's one of my favorite series. But to combat Microsoft, you should have dropped MLB The Show in PlayStation Plus. Not now, Plus, as a bonus to your Plus members to combat Game Pass. But you know why you can't do that? Because you got to make that bread on a game you put into financially. Because that other game, what was it? Destruction something? All-Stars?
Derby All-Stars.
I thought that game was fun. You know, I'm in for the fun games, but
It looked all right.
you know, MLB The Show would have took a little bit of steam out of Game Pass if you said, well, you're getting it in PlayStation Plus also. But you want that $70. They want that $70. I ain't mad. I'm just saying. Hey,
You need the 70.
They need it.
listen.
I mean, that's the blatant. That's the blatant difference, though. That's
And let's not forget.
And this
if
is
the
not
game
a
was to
this is
be-
not a PlayStation bashing situation. This is a consumer. This is a pro consumer situation. Pro consumer,
going on.
pro gamer situation. Because I have both, and it would have been a good look, so I could do my own comparison side by sides. But I ain't paying $70 to do it. That's a fact. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna move into the next topic, and I'm gonna ask the panel just generally, and I need this before I ask. How many of you have 120 frames available to you on these consoles currently? How many people are here?
I don't have a console, so still in the
I
process.
don't understand the question.
Well, damn. I said, how many people on console have 120 frame TVs available to them?
I would
Available.
say they have millions available, but do they
I
own
said
them?
on the panel.
It's difference.
On the panel.
Oh, well, I definitely have it.
Okay, you have it. Sick, you have it. I know Sick he has a C10. What about you, Pong?
Yeah, I got it. C10.
Okay, so Rain is the only one left in the dust. Sorry, bro. But
I'm TV, but I don't have a next gen console.
No. Okay. I got you. You got a monitor for. I got you.
Yeah.
It's one way. I just want to ask the question so I know who to refer this to, or just get your opinions on it. PlayStation 5 and Series X has over, not combined, but Xbox has over 30 plus 120 frames games on the market, and PlayStation has an abundance themselves. I don't know the exact number. I wanted to get your thoughts on how. Boom! Shots fired. But
No, that's like the actual numbers. So.
I know that's what's funny.
I didn't want to do that, but
It's just
I know it wasn't like
you just said 20 and then you said 8. It just doesn't sound good.
You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to get y'all opinions and people in the chat. If you ever see something wrong with the chat or you ever hear something wrong with our voices, you need to let me know because I'm multitasking and popping up videos and watching 3 different screens. Trust me, everybody's help is warranted and granted and appreciated here. Now, with that being said, tell me what y'all think. Are y'all shocked from the development standpoint that they're pushing these 120 frame games so early in these both of these consoles' lives?
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
Anybody can go.
Well, I'm surprised.
Go ahead.
But and remember, Lemon, I told you, and you agreed with me at the time, but now we see why we were wrong. I thought 120 FPS games was going to be about as common as 1080i was on the original.
Okay,
Xbox.
can I say this for the record? I did not agree with you. Go ahead.
Fraud.
No, I did not agree with you.
We did this on podcasts, bro.
No. I didn't. I knew games was coming. I just was
we
happy that it
did.
happened so fast. But they did all the games I wanted.
Yeah.
Is done. There's only one game I want that's not done. Halo 5. I don't care about the Master Chief Collection. That's the only game. But I knew what was in development. Remember, I said I knew it was in development. I didn't know how fast we were going to hit these situations. This 120 has hit the market with a landstorm right now.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's what I said. I didn't say I don't know what they're doing. I said this is what they, Rainbow Six, I play that adamantly. Halo 5, they don't do that. But Call of Duty, they got Tony Hawk now. They're just dripping with 120. So go ahead. But I'm really not on the fence with you, but go ahead. Had to clean that up.
Yeah, I just didn't expect that to be that prevalent, that common.
That fast. Facts.
It's that fast, too. This is not even the first 6 months isn't even over yet. We just
right, Shino. I see you, Elite.
Out of what do you call that? The first 3 months, that first quarter launch window. We're barely out the launch window.
Right. We're not out the launch window yet.
Games, and that's just not just the Series X.
Oh, yeah, we are.
That's also the Series S has more than the PS5. I'm not saying that for shade, but for everybody who's talking that good talk about the Series S, it's the it's like like the Fisher Price console of the generation, blah blah blah. Okay, the little Fisher Price console has more 120 FPS games than the PS5 has. That's not shade, that's facts. If it burns you behind, well, hey, that's on you. I'm just saying, and it's not gonna
Did you see his head movement just now?
And it's
New York. And I'm telling you something else now.
And that's what it is. There's gonna be so many more games, and even if they can't hit 120 FPS locked all the time, doesn't matter. Anything over 60 is fantastic. Is great, yeah.
Don't listen to Digital Foundry. This game is running at 99. Call of Duty Warzone, 150 people on a giant map is running at 100 frames a second. Damn, it didn't touch 120. Who's mad about that? That's the stuff Digital Foundry saying. People go, well, it's not 120.
And here's the capper, though. On PlayStation, you get the tearing on that stuff because it's not locked 120. On the Xbox, you don't because you got that FreeSync or that variable refresh, and Dolby Vision is coming. Okay? We got Atmos and DTS. You don't have either one of those. You have Tempest, which still hasn't shown improved. Like these are facts,
Mhm.
undeniable facts, and it makes the competition look really bad. And these people who like to sit here and talk all that talk, you look like clowns in front of everybody who knows the facts.
Mm.
I'm just gonna leave
I
it at
find
that.
it interesting that a game like Overwatch
Mm.
gets a series upgrade for this S and X with 120 frames,
Mhm.
running at 1440 or 4K 120,
Yep.
but that doesn't exist on the PlayStation side.
You know, we're not gonna
And
do the
Overwatch is not a
PlayStation
super.
bashing stuff here. We're not
I'm not.
here for
I'm.
that. Yo,
This
I'm
is
just.
just
PK
the
I
truth.
just find it.
They don't have
We
I
don't
find
do
it-
that.
I'm not bashing. I find it interesting
He
because it's
said, I
not like
find it
Overwatch.
interesting. Wow.
I find Overwatch is not a high demanding game. Let's keep it real.
Oh, so you trying to tell me that the Xbox Series S is better than PS5? That it has that? Oh,
Well, it
that's what you
can't do
trying to tell me?
1440.
It don't
can't
have to do. It does
1440.
1080p, 120, baby.
I'm saying the PlayStation can't do 1440.
Mm.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a
Series S
1440
can.
mode.
Yeah, you know what? I'm
They
gonna,
need
I'm
to
gonna go.
fire
I'm
whoever decided
gonna
to
leave
add
this
that.
podcast right.
Not
I'm
to
gonna get
add
off
that.
camera and I'm gonna go put on my PlayStation shirt because this is becoming blasphemy.
I mean, hey, look, let me just
Damn.
keep it real. I mean, 108. Let me just keep it real.
Mm.
We are gamers, and we're
Facts.
consumers. We have a right to criticize if something ain't right.
Right.
We're not bashing when we say we just want it to be better.
Oh.
What's wrong with that? I mean, Nintendo guys ain't crying. We ain't got no 120 games, right? We ain't got none to do 120.
You barely have 60 games half the time.
Man, so, well, most of their games are 60, to be honest.
Yo,
with
don't
you.
get him started, Sid.
So,
Stay
Don't
right
tell me
there.
now,
No,
but whatever.
stay right there.
hey, but
Don't you start
to keep
nothing
it-
here.
To be honest, it shows what it really speaks to is the full architecture being implemented in those two consoles on the Microsoft side. And the reason why they held back and making sure that they had every component in the system before it released.
Mhm.
They wanted
Right.
to make sure it was ready, that it don't have to go and make another Xbox Pro or Xbox Series XX or whatever.
Mm.
They don't need to do that because they built the machine
Yo,
in
no,
a
facts.
way
Future
where
proof. Future proof.
Yes.
honestly, and when the AP, let me just be honest, and I know that I might be speaking high level. Once the API start rolling out, that actually
That's next
take
subject.
advantage.
Next subject.
Next subject.
Okay,
Let me stop you right
But-
there.
but all I'm saying is
We get it.
it's a big deal,
Facts.
right? It speaks to the hardware.
All right, Paul, we gonna go to you next, and we gonna hit still last. How's your 120 frames per second experience? Because me being a Call of Duty fan and such a great player as I toot my own horn, it's kind of illegal for me to be playing on 120 frames or 120 hertz TVs because I'm really good, and that's just the facts. And my kills have went up. It's like an advantage. You know what I'm
It is.
saying? So just give me your experience. How do you feel?
Oh, I love one. It's not so much visual. Once you get to 120, it's more feel, right?
Mm.
Yes.
It's more feel. It's more response,
can't
right?
see it.
That can't. You
Sometimes
can't.
you can. Dirt 5, I see it.
Well,
Blew me away.
Yeah, but I feel it in Dirt
But you
5,
feel it
man,
more.
more
It's
than
a feel. It's a
anything.
feel.
Like
You can't physically see 120. You only can feel it.
Right.
Mhm.
Right, but I think this goes to the initiative that Xbox has been doing behind the scenes and the push of what they're looking for. A lot of people ripped on them for pushing this idea that their consoles were going to do, like the S was going to be a 1440 machine, and now that we've seen a lot of 1080, people are questioning whether they should have done that. That's not going to matter down the road. Like PK was just alluding to, I'm not even a tech guy, but I certainly have listened to enough people who are and read enough stuff to know what's coming down the line and how that's all going to even out. We haven't seen nothing yet, people, when it comes to the hardware underneath. Right?
Oh yeah. We just touching the
But
tip of
this
the
is-
iceberg.
Yeah, this is a push by Xbox, and I can guarantee you that why we're seeing it on Xbox versus PlayStation is because Xbox is driving this home with the developers, and they're pushing this point that they want to see these frame rates at 60 and 120 anytime it's possible. And I don't think Sony really cares right now. I don't think that they really have that drive to push that narrative, but I think Xbox does. So I think behind the scenes there's a lot going on, and they're helping the devs and their teams get used to the hardware and get used to the new tools and all that kind of stuff, to the point where we're seeing it. And that's why we see such a big gap in the amount of games that are in Xbox versus PlayStation that are 120. And so for me, it feels great. I'm all about it in almost every single game that I've tried. I love it. You can definitely tell a difference if you've got the TV or the monitor to pull it off. And I'm all about it. I think it's amazing.
Facts. Okay. Still, do you play 120 on your PC?
I do.
Okay,
when I can, but and I have that availability only because I'm playing at 1080. See, I specifically bought this TV to be my 1080 120 gaming setup. If I want to get the 60 frames until I upgrade my TV again, well, I'm still looking for a Series X regardless. But until I upgrade my TV, that's what I use to play 4K 60 at with my PC. So, which
is another thing they're still pushing for. On these next generation consoles, games that was 30, they pushing 60. Shout out to my boy Bloody Knuckles. Go support him over there on Smash Podcast and his channel. We had a debate on GRG one day. He was like, "Yo, I prefer 60 with bad graphics." I said, "I prefer graphics at 4K 30." Now I'm getting 4K 60. And I ain't mad, but I got the same graphics. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but if you playing a single player game and it's gonna be 30 frames with beautiful particles, shadows, reflections, anamorphic filtering, and 8 times anti-aliasing, give me the graphics at 30 frames. But now with these consoles, with the upgrades, they're giving us 60 frames per second with the same bells and whistles from last gen. I'm taking that because I'm a graphics whore. Put me on the corner. I'm gonna get you your money. Facts.
but just to continue that conversation. Look, 120 isn't anything new to me. Again, I've been playing PC games. I've been playing PC games since I was 10 years old, and I'm 28. About to be 29. Just to give y'all a reference. So 120 isn't a new thing. Whether it was RTSs or playing Rainbow Six back in the day. Again, the higher the frame rate, the better when it comes to first person shooters, or when it comes to shooters overall. Better example I can give you, while y'all are playing 60, I'm playing 120 on Outriders. I've had to kind of dial it back because the game needs more optimization. It's not optimized that great. I shouldn't be at 120 and then dropping to 80 at random points in the game. And I'm running on Ultra, but I'm running at 10. I'm at 1080. I'm running on 1080. I have a 2070 Super. I know my car can handle it.
TV at
440p
30.
Exactly. And then it gives you 120. Just gives you, like Paul was saying, it gives you that feel. Can you really see it? There's only some of us that can really notice the difference. Like in a racer, you can notice. In Forza, I can tell when I go from 60 to 120. Oh, yeah. The game not only feels differently, it looks differently. Yeah. Like that motion blur when it's going by, I can see more stuff now.
Fact.
You know what I mean? Like
somebody run by you on the
that's
screen,
the difference.
You got more opportunity to pop they behind.
Exactly.
There's no hitches in between the movement. That's a fact.
And the fact that 120 is becoming more prevalent on consoles, you saw it with Gears of War and how much of a difference that made it.
Made me a Gears of War killer. Gears. I'm better. I'm not even a Gears of War killer. I'm a killer now. I'm
Gears of War was already smooth at 60.
Facts.
When you play Gears of War way above 60, it feels like a completely different game because you're able to compete. Honestly, console guys can now compete a little bit easier with PC guys.
I know that's welcomes everyone.
Complaint. I don't see that problem, but I know different people are at different levels in all different games.
Top of the food chain, because I be putting PC guys to shame. Because no matter how much you aim with a mouse, you can't get to that level, ducking, dodging, and jumping, and sprinting better than me with a controller. You can aim better. If you good at aiming, let's talk facts here. That's really
there's some circumstances.
Yeah, no,
unless you got the setup.
No, listen. You can have the best keyboard in the world and suck.
Yeah,
because listen. I'm an instigator. I'm a multiplayer mayhem murderer. Right? When I see the PC dudes, I go into the lobby. I talk about dudes' mamas. I'm popping the most crap. I'd be like, please don't be on my team. See me on the battlefield. And I'm fighting for all us console dudes. I have a monster PC. I can game at a high level, but it's a myth. Like if you good at your craft, you good. But I hate that PC dudes. Oh, I play on PC better than you. That don't make you a good PC player because you're on PC. Yeah. That's a myth. Just like everybody on part of PC Master Race. It don't have nothing to do with power because NVIDIA don't sell a bunch of high-end graphic cards.
Nah,
they sell all 1080 graphic cards. It's a myth. So I go in there with a chip on my shoulder. Say I'm gonna push all y'all wigs back. Facts. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
But no, and that's the whole point. We're getting to a point where everybody was talking about Moore's law. Oh, there's graphics and tech. It's at a certain level, and now it's become more so. How do you feel? How do you feel your games? Can you actually get a full experience out of that game? I mean, in your shooter, can you hit your mark now? Is it did your KD go up a little bit? And I'm not saying that it's going to make a difference for everybody because again, if the skill isn't there, then the skill isn't there. Whether you're playing at 60 or you playing at 100, or you have 400 frames, it's not going to matter.
It's not going to improve your skill.
Yeah, exactly. But it will make you, the common player, more accurate, and that's what it's about. I always take it back to my whole point with this generation is another, and it's the focus that I want everybody to have, is that this is about feel. How do you feel your games now? We're getting to a point where 4K 60 is the standard, and 60 needs to be the standard. Yeah. But opening it up to 120, they're able to do that. I expected that because they opened up the hardware. You know what I mean? Facts. They set it. They set a higher expectation. Microsoft has set a precedent that we don't have to upgrade our system. Will they? We'll see in 5 years. But they set the stigma that we don't have to upgrade. Facts. We waited for a purpose. And with everything that we're seeing, it's all leading in the right direction. 120 again, it's another one of those things where it's an option. Whether you have it or not, it's a personal preference. If you have the ability to go spend that little bit of extra money to get you something that can handle 120 hertz, then do it. If whatever you can get, especially the options are there.
That's a bill.
It's gonna become a staple now.
Exactly. Being able to play on 120 is going to get to a point. Yeah, it's like PK was saying, it's a staple. Yeah, it's there. You know, it's like a benefit, brother. Why when I do the numbers, why does Xbox have 23 more games available that are 120 FPS compatible? 23 more games than your competitor. That's you
Phil
see
Spencer
what
is not playing.
This is the beginning.
And this is just the beginning. It's about opening it up because you can do it on PC. And now consoles, it's about putting everything in synergy. You know what I mean? Facts. Xbox is saying, hey, you're the gamer. We're gonna put you in your world. Here's the access. What are you gonna do with it?
Facts.
And that's what I like about what's going on.
Now, myself, man, I don't game on monitors. Sick will tell you. Back in the days when I built my first PC, it was high end. He taught me basically everything I know about building PCs, and I grew into that PC realm, right? I spent money for a monitor, right? You know, the CRT monitors, they weigh like 97 pounds for 24 inches or 25 inches TVs, monitors. I didn't like it. I didn't like that you had to hook up, you had to have sound, Creative Labs, sound cards. So I bought the best. I had all these knobs. I only put it on one thing and never touched it again. It was so much of an investment, right? So I'm always the dude on my team. See, 108 Dragons doesn't come from my YouTube channel. It really comes from 18 years ago. I was the leader of a clan. The clan was called 108 Dragons. And I just took it to the YouTube realm and put TV because we were watching me. But being the leader of my clan, I've always was the tech dude to jump out the window. Be the first to have the first HDMI receiver. They had 3 in New York. I bought one of them. I've always taken that plateau. So when it came to gaming, I kept saying, yo, this goddamn monitor costs more than my TV. Don't even got speakers. I got to have speakers. I got to get a Sound Blast card. I'm like, how can we hook this up to a TV and this $2,000-$3,000 surround sound system at the time that I got to play these games just way before 5.1. This is just stereo. How can I do this, right? So I'm a veteran in that aspect. I used to buy cables, $300, get them specifically made. Sick is like, yo, what you doing? I said, I cannot play on this little monitor on a desktop with a desk and just, when I got this beautiful big goddamn TV, we playing GoldenEye on. Split screen, everybody looked like they own TV because the TV's so damn big. That's when DLPs was popping. Yep. So Ever since I first bought that $400 cable that was specifically made, it's a company on 14th Street, Union Square, New York. I can't think of the name right now. And I get up there and get this cable. All my boys just like, you retarded. You know, back in the 90s, $400 is like $2,000 today.
Yeah.
So I said, I don't think that a monitor is that important in my life. So ever since I've been playing on a TV after that cable, I've always played on my TV. But
yeah,
I
and
wanted
the next level after that.
Right. I always
bought with the HDMI,
right.
What is it, DVI?
Right. I've always wanted a TV to touch the frames that a PC can bring you. In this generation, I looked at Sick TV C10. I'm scared of OLED. People got OLEDs. I'm happy for you. I'm scared of burn-in. I spent a lot of money. Don't want no burn-in because they not in New York. They do not cover that warranty. So I went and bought the 8K version of the C10 LED TV. Cost me a few dollars. But now that I got 120, man, I can't go back.
Yeah.
Being the competitor I am, I don't really care that Dirt 5 is 120. Don't care. I don't play that multiplayer, and you really can't see it single player. It just plays better. Willow of the Wisps, the second part of Ori and the Blind Forest. Don't really care for the 120. I care for the 120 for everything multiplayer doing. Fortnite.
I feel
that. Tony Hawk just got an update. Samurai Showdown, the remake. Yeah. All those games that's competitive, man, I re-download them and I'm super excited. But to be part of that PC race, not master race, but just the race of having those frames available to you, seeing them push the 120 to Warzone. And I used to get frustrated, like, yo, this dude was right there. I'm shooting him. I got no hit markers. And honestly, since 120 has hit both these, I haven't played anything on PlayStation 5 in 120 because I play all my multiplayer games over on Xbox. But I don't see the 120 that's needed for Devil May Cry 5. I really don't. But people say they see it, whatever. But just seeing the 120 hit console gamers, this is a brand new situation, and to see the support from developers going back in, changing their games. I'm waiting for Apex to get it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I really want Apex. Yo, I'm like, yo, I need that Apex. You know, I need my fix. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo.
Because I heard the announcement.
No, it's not ready yet. It's not ready because trust me, I'm all over that. But my other favorite game that I play consistently since one of the reasons the 108 Dragons was formed is Rainbow Six. 120. I feel everybody's getting killed in front of me. There's no way y'all gonna defeat me. I feel like, I feel like,
you feel like you're cheating.
Yeah, I feel like I'm cheating. I do. I feel like, man, I already was a problem. I don't know if 120 should be in my category of gaming because I'm in Call of Duty today, just talking to dude. Yo, Clown was, it was yesterday. I was whipping dudes so bad. Clowns was like, I said, yo, this is not even fun, Clowns. He was like, Lemon, what happened? I said, yo, I'm killing everybody. I'm making them quit. They get new players. Then they quit. He was like, how many kills you got? I was like, 57. It was like, what? I was like, yo, listen, it's easy. It feels like it's cheating to me because I'm already good at 60. But for my console gamers, man, for all of us, I'm so excited for y'all guys when y'all get these TVs. And if you're a multiplayer person, it definitely changes the game. It will up the ante. Like it's really a frame rate that we're not used to, that PC dudes have been flourishing in for at least 10 years.
Yes.
At least. It's like, it's new to me. And I'm like, damn, I hit the lotto. I feel so good. It's just amazing. But I really wanted to bring this subject up and put this out there because I'm really shocked at the support from even both consoles. I don't care how small to how large. It's the point that the developers are going out there, and we know most people do not have these TVs. There's a debate what TV to get. This TV can't do Dolby Vision. This TV only do HDR. Some TVs don't do HDR gaming. Listen, just play the game and have a good time. Forget the analytics and the technical aspect. Just get out there, enjoy the game, and have a good time. With that being said, I'm going to go into the last topic, and the last topic is going to drop that Xbox code, and you Twitter finger guys out there, nobody still say, yo, Lemon, I won the code, because if you didn't, I'm going to try the codes after, then I'm going to keep my own money. Facts. But with that being said, we're going to get it.
Before you go to the next topic, I just want to holler, shout out to Bobby Lashley retaining his championship at WrestleMania. He got his WrestleMania moment. Got to give it to him, bro. I'm excited. Sorry.
And yeah, I got to shout out my man Logical J. Your cousin gonna be on here May 8th, first Saturday, and yeah, we're gonna get into that later when I call you. I see you blowing up my chat. Stop texting me on my phone. Hit my chat, sucker. Anyway, with that being said, man, we're gonna get into this GameStack live event that's coming April 21st, and we're gonna talk about the SDK. We're gonna talk about the developers having a better situation for Microsoft in terms of developing for they current gen consoles, and what do you guys expect? So let me go to Sick, because you've been the greatest finisher in the game tonight. You like KRS-One. We can't be doing that too much. You can't even rap. You don't even got no rhythm. But anyway, we're gonna get into the last subject. Tell me, what do you expect? This is like a bonus situation. Tell me what do you expect from this GameStack live event, and we might be live on this channel. Anybody on this panel is welcome to join if y'all not doing your own thing. You know, 11 Split Screen is just an amazing podcast. Y'all, join anytime. Y'all dudes energy is incredible. Tell me, Sick.
Appreciate it.
Tell me, Sick, what do you think about this event and what do you expect? And this is good news that they finally pushing out the SDKs that the developers can take advantage of both these next-gen consoles.
Yes, that's the thing I was most interested in and was hoping for. So I read the article on Windows Central where they break down what's been announced and supposed to be on these shows.
Facts.
And the SDK is coming, and the code name for it is agility.
Woo!
That speaks to so many things. The performance that we've been waiting for to be extracted from the series console, the S and the X. Like, you truly gonna see what these systems can do.
Finally using the velocity architecture. Finally.
Yeah, the velocity architecture, direct storage.
Right.
And it's just also important for PC, all the HDR stuff. A lot of the stuff that's happening with Xbox is also going to be on PC. And when that happens, now it's a synergy thing happening, okay? Where they both are playing off of each other, okay? And the cloud stuff, they have so many technical, videos and streams they're going to do where they're going to explain all this stuff. And if you're a tech guy, there's a lot to learn from. But if you're not, guaranteed us tech guys are going to break it down for you. But the main thing that you need to know, I think that's most important, is this SDK. And once again, the Agility SDK. The naming of this SDK update says everything you need to know. That means speed, performance, power. All these complaints that people have, or people on Twitter and elsewhere are trying to pretend like, oh, it's not important that these things are going to happen, or the Xbox important. Can't really perform it, can't perform, and PlayStation is beating it. Oh yeah, at day one with no patch, and then patch later comes on, it's already beating it. Without this SDK, wait till this SDK comes out, and they have like their DLSS equivalent and all these things. You think the Xbox can perform now? Wait till this stuff comes out. Okay. It's going to blow socks off.
Now, I'm not going to go to my both my tech dudes at the same time, because both of y'all super IT dudes. I'm going to leave it to the rest of the novices like me, Pong, and I don't even know still how tech you are, but I know me and Pong, we maybe about the same. You know, I'm a tech dude, but these dudes are IT dudes. They're a little bit different. They could, when the matrix screen come down, you see those green lines, these dudes are reading languages. I don't know how to do that. So, Pong, I'm going to go with you. I'm going to go with you, man.
I'm gonna give you my thoughts.
Randy Savage,
give you my thoughts
of Game Pass.
Now, I'm not a tech dude, so this stuff is just cool from the outside. But here's the deal: I'm gonna give you my thoughts, and I appreciate the love, but I do got to get over the shop podcast with PTK too. Okay, so we are past time. So I'm gonna let my man, obviously my brother from another steel, handle the outros and all that good stuff. But dude, I appreciate you so much, man, for
Appreciate
having
you
us
more,
on
brother.
here, man. This
Long
is
time.
Yeah,
amazing.
So happy
Thank
you were
you.
here.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
and I
How much
appreciate
time you got?
you.
How much time you got?
Well, they already started, so I'm coming in hot. I already told them I
Because
was
if you
coming in
leave,
hot.
you know what's
so.
gonna
Yeah,
happen,
it's all
right?
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So
Shoot.
we might have
All
to
right.
speed through this, and I'm gonna drop this code because if he leaves, he gonna ruin the whole podcast. So you know what? I wish
I don't want to be
good.
that
No,
guy.
no, no, no.
either.
All right.
Damn.
So say your
All right,
point.
all right.
We'll get the steal. I ain't gonna say nothing. Then PK, we gonna do some outros.
I
Please
don't want
don't
to do
leave.
this, man. I respect you. I don't want to do this to you, man. I'm sorry. I
Go ahead. I'm
know
sorry.
it's gonna ruin the whole
Hey,
show.
we Gucci.
Yeah, man, don't worry about it, bro.
So, anyways, as far as this goes, I think I read the articles. I've been reading up on it because I am interested in the tech side. So I think it's very cool what they're doing, and when they come out with the stuff. And this sounds like they're going to give a pretty big roadmap as to where they're going and what all the behind the stuff, all the behind the scenes stuff that we've been hearing about.
Right.
We're going to start finally seeing a lot of that, coming out and coming into play. And obviously this is for the devs and all those guys, but I think we're going to see a lot of stuff that, people have been whispering about or talking about or wait for the tools, just all that kind of stuff coming into play.
108 Dragons
The other
TV welcomes
the
everyone.
really interesting part that I saw on there was that a
108
lot of these
Dragons TV
sessions
welcomes
are
Living
going to
Split
be
Screen Podcast to the
available in
show.
Japanese and Korean, which means they are really trying to hit that East market, right?
Yeah,
they
facts.
want people to be coming into this ecosystem and developing, right? So that for me says a lot. Like they're really making a play over there because they know there's a lot of new fresh talent that's also being cultivated over there right now, and they need to jump on that before other people do. We got the giants, Tencent sitting out there and all that kind of stuff that is gobbling up people. And Microsoft needs to be aware that there's a lot of talent hitting that are producing things like Black Myth Wukong and those kind of things popping up over there now, right out of the blue. And Microsoft needs to be in there and making sure that they're getting a piece of that talent as well.
Yeah,
so
facts.
that was a huge part of that for me too.
All right, still you go. Then we're gonna hit my IT dude. Then we're gonna do our sign outs. And then we're gonna get my brother to his show.
Pretty much Paul knocked it out of the park, man. There's not much. There's not too much else that I can personally add to it. Again, I am on the IT side of things, but probably not. I'm so far removed into it. I'm getting back into it because I'm getting back into cybersecurity myself. So it's kind of one of those things to where I'm familiar with it. I know what all the lingo means. It's more, and this is more so important for, again, like he was saying, it's the same angle I was going to take. It's hitting that Eastern market and showing them, and also showing the devs that you're going to have updated tools, and there's going to be so much more things that you're going to be able to bring to the table here very soon, rather than later. So that's all I got to say on
Okay, we almost done. All right, PK. Don't do long. Don't do LL. No long lungs. Let's go. Gotta get my man to his show.
Man, I'm not gonna go too long. So to be honest, what I was hitting at earlier, man. Let me be honest. The reason why I went with a 6900 XT instead of the NVIDIA joint is because I wanted to experience what the console is going to get experienced.
Nice.
I wanted to see what the true RDNA 2 is going to be like. And to be honest, they both good platforms. It don't matter what you choose. But at the end of the day, the consoles are going to get the same experience I have on the PC. And once the APIs drop, it's going to be a monster. You think that it runs good now? You have seen nothing
but
yet.
it's only been running good. They've been brute forcing it. But with that being said, I'm sorry to cut you off, PK. But I'm gonna let my two brothers say, let them know where they can find you. And I need one more thing after that. But let them know where they can find you. We gonna get you that podcast, Pong. I'm on Team Pong's system. I'm on Team Pong. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got a Pong shirt, but I need to get one. I did
not want this to
No.
happen.
If you would have said, listen, this is the longest we ever went. We only usually go an hour and 30 minutes, but we got 5 people today. We got 5 people.
Talkers on like
listen,
this,
but we got 5 people. So I said, you know what? This is gonna go more than an hour and 30. But anyway, tell them where you can find them. Tell them where you can find that goddamn amazing podcast. And what's crazy is I'm mad at you too at the same time because your podcast don't allow guests. But I ain't gonna even go there right now. Split screen 2 people only. But okay, I can rock with you. Tell them where they can find you at. and that electrifying Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I ain't doing all the time zone but mine. But anyway,
Facts.
I don't know the other ones, but tell them where they can find y'all, man.
Make it hype, man. Steel, go.
All right, look, man. Fridays. It's Fridays. You can find me at GRG, getting it in 8 p.m. with the squad. PK Sick. You might even find the dragon there. Look, man. Coming live raw and uncut. Saturday mornings. 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. UK time. The Living Split Screen Podcast, your new morning show. You know how Saturday morning cartoons used to go?
The best morning show.
That for you. Where we go all across the industry as far as gaming and maybe some of even our personal thoughts and just have an organic, energetic, adrenaline pumping way to start your weekend. And we're doing it in the most natural and most energetic way that we know how to do. And this is natural, man. So it is what it is. Other than that, that's pretty much it. Pong, get it back to you in case you want to say anything extra. I know you got some other shows you want to shout out, but that's it.
You know, you got mad energy.
Hell yeah. No, thanks, Steel. So on the other side, on Friday nights, you can find me on Xbox Ultimate and Fun Speculation, aka Mav, and the Brady Bunch. We got Caitlin, we got 3-Bit, we got Psychonauts 8,
3-Bit,
we got
3-Bit
Assassin
and
Lupa. Yeah. We got Assassin Lupa, and now we got Lady AF. So you can find us over there at the same time. GRG. I know it's competing, but you know what? We're all one big family. You have multiple tabs up, man. Be watching both of us. That's how I do it. And that is 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central. Saturday mornings, Living Split Screen. It is the new place to be on Saturday mornings. As you can see, Steel and I are like this naturally. This is us. This is why we got together. We both bring big opinions. We both have a lot to say about topics. Him and I cover 2 hours between the two of us like this.
That's crazy.
It goes by fast. Right.
This is my longest podcast. We got 5 people. Y'all doing it with 2?
Two.
Damn, son.
And so come see us Saturday mornings, like Steel said. You got all the times written down. Living Split Screen, all
Damn,
one word,
son.
capital S's. Find us, come see us, check us out. Man, the community's been great. We love you all for all the support you've given us, but come out and see us. Saturday nights, where I'm headed to right now, the Shop Podcast. PTK Blam. He's been doing it for 5 years, man. We just sell
it's my dude.
crazy.
To the brother.
Crazy. And so find him there. Yeah, it's a short show. It only goes a little bit over an hour. Quick show to end your Saturday night. It's a place to be. Shop Podcast. Tuesdays, you find me on the Boom Show with the Xbox Factor Podcast.
Yeah,
Double Barrel Gaming with Boom and Zemi on Tuesdays, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time, a.m. And come join us. It's a fun time. Otherwise, Pong Soul everywhere. Find me. I'll follow you back. We can talk games. That's what I'm about.
Now,
108 Dragons TV welcomes Living Split Screen Podcast to the show.
Blessing my 2 brothers for showing up to 108 Dragons. It's a pleasure to have both y'all on here, man. You already know where you can find Sick. You already know you can find the most electrifying light-skinned guy on the podcast, PK. With that being said, I need one thing. I need everybody to get up in this chat, man, and throw up their X with my man DMX, man. And we will see y'all next Saturday. Throw them X's up. I need y'all in the building. Support my brother. God bless him, man. We lost a great one. And we definitely we out of here, man. And you listen, it's my best podcast ever. I don't even give a damn. You know what I'm saying? I don't even care right now. Much love to both of y'all. My 2 hosts always bringing the heat.
Sick.
Yo, listen, go over there, do your thing. Let's get to this outro. And as I always say, bring your game and not your name. Facts.
Love it.